goal. Side of goal. And what a goal.
What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? Woohoo! We've only fucking 14 League Cups left, League Cup finals left. Great result. I'm happy. We should have slaughtered them. Let's be honest about it. It was a good result. We got there in the end. I'll take 1-0 all day. Yeah, all day, baby. You know what I mean? Leicester, wasn't that much of a threat, to be honest. I think we were our own worst enemy. We made a lot of fucking, fuck ups here and there. Was the team right? Was the team wrong? Was the substitutions right? Was the substitutions wrong? Stay tuned, because the people that are going to answer this question, if you're in the comments, if you're coming on, if you're showing your face, if you're hiding your face, you're coming on. We're going to digest it. We're going to get in. We have the surgical gloves ready. We're all going to fucking sort it all out. Stay tuned. Sit back, relax, do whatever the fuck you want to do. We got 3 points today. Happy bleeding days. I'm going to shout out a few comments here, and then we'll throw on a few people here. And by the way, before I do that, you'll see that jersey up there. All right? I want to give this jersey, is probably one, it means so much to me, this jersey. This jersey is my grandmother's. When she passed away in 2011, I bought her this jersey. And to represent 89, that's the age she passed away at in 2011, Christmas time. And that's why I wanted to give her this big up. She was such a big Arsenal fan. Her 2 favourite players were Chippy Brady, as she'd always say, Chippy Brady, and David O'Leary. 2 absolute legends and gentlemen, she'd call them, that she loved playing. She loved seeing playing and stuff like that. So a big shout out to my grandmother who passed away in 2011. And that's a jersey I bought for her, and I put it on a coffin and stuff like that. And so it means everything to me, that jersey. So I just wanted to say that, get that out of the way. Thanks a million. But anyway, I'm going to shout out a few comments here. Manny's in the house. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Exactly. A famous, famous victory for Arsenal. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Smash them likes up for Del Boy. Yes, Lenny. Good man, mate. Thanks a million. Should have battered them lot. Yeah, I agree 100%. 110%. Red Army. Yes. Who else do we have in the building? We've Static. Yes, come on, Arsenal. Exactly. Come on. 8 likes, like and subscribe. Please do, people. Please do help the channel along the way. Big up Del Boy chat and everyone who goes on. Exactly, Jamino. Jamino's in the house. Joe is here and all. Oh, all the celebs are here today. Joe is here. Fix the hair. Make sure we're looking like Giroud on form. Who else do we have? Finally, Arsenal didn't concede, but we definitely should have scored more goals. Yes, that 100%, mate. I agree with you. How are you all doing, Giroud? LOL. Yes. To be fair, you deserve it. Big up, Brad. Yeah, I think we did, in fairness. Brand's a Leicester City fan. I was on Chris's show, Leicester Till I Die, with Brad. Please do check his channel out. It's actually very, very good. I was tuning in there the other day. Very good stuff. And I was on Chris's channel, and me and Brad had a good chat. Thanks a million for dropping in. Del Boy, RIP to your legend, Grandma. Thanks, mate. Very, very appreciate that. 13 likes. Come on, let's try and get that to fucking 20. Come on, for feck's sake. Right, we've loads of people here already queuing up to get in the door. So we'll just add them all at once. Get them all in. No fucking messing here on Del Boy. No messing. Let's digest. Annie, first up, what's the bleeding story? How are you doing?
Yeah, first of all, let me just say I'm really sorry about your grandmother. I know she's quite special to you. Let me also join in by saying that I hope she's in peace, and I hope that if she was as big an Arsenal fan as you are, if Arsenal go on to win, it'll be wonderful in her memory. May she continue to rest in peace and enjoy her time with the Lord. And also to all our fellow Catholic friends, I wish you all nothing but blessings for the period of Lent, and I hope the Lord rewards your prayers and your penance. And thirdly, I never hide my face, but as I said, 1-0 to the Arsenal, that's the way. And I've got my red shirt on.
Yes, well done, Mandy. Thanks a million for saying that. And I'll go to your Beside you there, the gentleman beside you with the red and white scarf, Warren. Big up, Warren. How are you, mate?
I'm absolutely delighted, mate. I'm absolutely buzzing. Fantastic victory today. It started off well when we saw that James Maddison wasn't playing. But, because I think that was a major factor today. But 1-0 to the Arsenal. As I saw Jez Collins put a message in there saying 1992 all over again, and he's 100% right. It was 1-0 to the Arsenal, and we had a goal disallowed as well, but I don't know quite what happened there. But
well, Warren, you're in the right place. You're in the right place to find out what happened. Napster, what's the bleeding story? How are you keeping, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a while. Live and directing in full effect, baby. The one and only Napster, the realist on here. It's been way too long, my friend. How's it going, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the one question. Are you enjoying the Six Nations too?
Oh, I'm watching it right now, mate. Obviously, it's in the background. I've had to mute it, for copyright reasons, but because I respect the platform and all that bollocks. But yeah, not looking bad so far. But back to the Arsenal just for the moment. I watched that game, even though the streams were like messing up a bit here and there. And first and foremost, the ref was shite, and I don't usually say that. So when the ref is that bad, I will call. I'm not afraid to call out. But I'm not one of those that like AFTV and all of that will just like constantly just scope out who the ref is and then just be like, oh, we're going to lose today because we've got this ref, we've got Anthony Taylor, we've got Lee Mace, we've got this, we've got that. We should have battered them. You could have had the worst ref on the planet. We should have battered these motherfuckers. Like, yeah, the ref was shy, but we put the ball in the net 3 times, I believe. Disallowed twice. Only got 1 goal. It's a miracle that it's only 1. And to be honest, I don't even think that James Maddison would have made that much of a difference just because of how we defended as a team. And I think if Maddison was playing, I think we would have targeted him and they wouldn't have even had a sniff because I only had 1 shot on target. I was so comfortable. Especially towards like the end of the game. I was like, I'll just pop the Six Nations on. I'll pop the Six Nations. That's how comfortable I am. I'm just watching that. I saw Ireland win earlier today, and it was a close game. So big up to yourselves. Number 1 team in the world. Can't complain. England, well, we're rebuilding. I'll just leave it like that. And then Wales are in a bit of a shit show. But it's all looking good at the moment. So onwards and upwards. Keep this momentum going in the league. And one other thing I'll finish up on is when we've got the Europa League coming up, like the Sporting and that. I don't want to hear anyone that mentions chuck this Europa League away, yeah? Get on them. Get your fucking asses on them because I'm not having that. You can get... I'll let it be with the Carabao Cup. FA Cup, it was Man City, so I'll give you a drive for that. We did play well-ish, but Europa League, I'm not having it. If we drop a stinker in the Europa League, I'm on Arteta, I'm on the players, and I'm on these deluded fucking fan bases, 100%, because we should be winning that as well. Because the league ain't guaranteed. Well, neither is Europa League, but we're fucking Arsenal Football Club. Yeah, go out there and win both. Why not? Man United are on a high. Let's bring them back down another level. Why not?
Yeah, exactly, mate. I agree with you 100%, and I'm going to go back on that as well in a few minutes. We'll just get into the game first. I agree with you 100%, and I do actually want to talk about that. But I'll just introduce Darren here. Darren, what are you saying? How are you getting on? Are you happy? 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm happy. I think we had a right result there today. I'm glad to see Arteta has learned from his mistakes. He's put Eddie on the bench to start with. Trossard, Martinelli, he's varied it up a bit, which is good to see. And I actually think now he'll do that now till the end of the season. I think he now realises that he can't just keep putting the same team out time after time again. And Martinelli got his goal, which was brilliant. So, yeah, I think there was a point in the second half there where you could tell, here it comes, we're going to bang 2 or 3 in about 10 minutes. But unfortunately, we couldn't get that second goal. And I'm quite the opposite to your man next to me in that I wasn't relaxed for the whole game. I thought they could have perhaps snatched an equaliser. But it don't matter now. Who gives a shit really? Because we've got the 3 points. We're in and out of there with the 3 points, and now we can put our feet up till Wednesday because we're 8 points clear of Man United. And I just want to see them have some sort of collapse just to bring them down a peg because I'm sick of hearing from Scholes, Neville, and all these people going on about 4 trophies for Man United. I mean, come on, get real. That ain't going to happen. So, really good. And we're still up there. We're still 5 points clear of City, 8 points clear of Man United. So, now we got Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, right? That's 4 more games. So that's 28 games. Then we're 10 games away from the end of the season, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah, we have got to go to Man City, Liverpool, and Newcastle. But if we want to win it, we've got to scrap and we've got to battle and we've got to keep it going. I was a little bit, you might have seen in the Instagram chat, I was a little bit pissed off with the captain armband given away this afternoon. I'm not in agreement with that at all. I don't think that Zinchenko is reliable. I saw the game and I saw twice he went AWOL at left back today. Didn't cost us today because we're away at Leicester. But if we're away at Newcastle, Liverpool, or Man City, it might be different. So, and what happens now? Is this just a one-off where he gets the captaincy? Has he got it for good, or is it just a one-off because it was the 1-year anniversary of Ukraine and Russia? Yeah, all this has got nothing to do with Arsenal Football Club as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I want to see decisions purely on our team and what's going on, not in politics. It's a bit like if you've taken your kid along to football with a football club, they give a little trophy away at the end of each week, and they swap the trophy. Every week, a kid gets given the trophy. Oh, you're the best trainer of the week, and they come home and it's like, oh yeah, look, I've got this. It's like they've just given him it to go. Oh look, yeah, you have that. Well, sorry, Arsenal Football Club, you have to earn your stripes. What about Tony Adams and Patrick Vieira when they were captain in the '98 and the 2004 teams? What if somebody would have gone to them? I'll tell you what, look, there's been a bit of a conflict somewhere else in the world. You drop the captaincy this week and we'll just give that to someone else. It don't sit comfortably with me at all. And when I see things like that, I think, what is happening to our football club? Has that decision been made by the Cronkies? Or has that been made by Arteta? Who's made that decision? But there you go. But anyway, I've had my say now on that. I ain't going to mention it again. If other people, I'll come back into it if other people want to talk about it. But I just needed to get that off.
Yeah.
It don't sit very well with me.
Yeah, no, look.
Dale, if I can just come right in here, and then I'll say it very briefly. I actually applaud the club for that decision because it is definitely going to be a one-off. And obviously, when Zinchenko signed not too long ago, I think we always knew that Ukraine was sort of going to be in the public eye for the war. And I think as long as the team were behind it, that was fine. I do take your point, Mr. Sullivan, that once again, he wasn't exactly at his best. And there's also segues into another point, one which I think, Warren, you will sadly agree with me on this. Kieran Tierney is now finished at Arsenal. You bring Tomiyasu on for the last 2 minutes and leave the former Celtic star on the bench. That's a clear sign he's not appreciated. He's not wanted. I hope he goes to Newcastle and has the time of his life or some other club where he will be valued for the quality player he is. But I agree with the decision to give the armband to Zinchenko because it was just a one-off. It was a good gesture from the club. And, we had to show that, we are in solidarity because I get everyone's one talking about how politics should never and sports should never mix. But sadly, it's always going to mix whether we like it or not. So it was a good gesture. I wouldn't have slated the club if they didn't do that. And I do take the point that, the captains of yesteryear wouldn't have appreciated that. But sometimes, certain gestures like this and the fact the captains are willing to go along with it, I think that shows that the club is really a united force, at least, to the public eye. It would have been one thing if you would have just given it to, just thrown it around like a hot potato. but that's not really the case. And I'm going to have to agree to disagree. But we're in agreement. We got the 3 points. We should have gotten more goals, but happy days otherwise.
This is it.
Can I just say that I agree wholeheartedly with what Darren said about the captaincy? We're not a political organisation. I am very political myself. Anyone who knows me knows that I am. But first and foremost, we're a football club, and we need to remember that, right? We're not here to give around armbands to people just on a whim. I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with that, and I'm 100% behind Darren. I think it's right. We're Arsenal Football Club. Yes, we need to do things. Maybe put armbands on, stuff like that, but not start taking the captaincy. What would have happened today if there'd been an issue with the captain would have needed to address on the pitch? Would he have been able to deal with it? I don't know. But I'm sorry, the captaincy is a really important position on the field, and it's not a symbolic position either. It's a really pivotal position on the football field, and it needs to be treated as such. And yeah, I completely support the people of Ukraine, and I think we should be doing more to assist with their struggle. But this business, it needs to be kept separate from the football, and I'm wholeheartedly behind Darren. So you got my full support, mate.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to introduce someone. He's been very quiet here. I think we need to get his words of wisdom in because I have to be nice to this guy now for the next few days because I'm going on an airplane and I'm going to be sitting beside him, and I don't want him to be throwing a few elbows at me. Remember, you said this comment, so I'll introduce him now. It's the Kyle Walsh Gunner. What's the bleeding story?
Big up to you, Del Boy, and all the legends here on the screen and all the legends in the chat. And Del Boy, I'd just like to say to you, I might have to shoot off. You know what I'm talking about there. I texted earlier and I'll be taking in our details later on, my friend, all right? But just want to say, this is just me. My opinion about the whole situation is we're a fucking joke of a club and we're not going to win fuck all. You're talking there about captaincy. Now, let me give you all something straight up. That fucking Odegaard is no captain of Arsenal Football Club. Number one. He's an absolute fucking joke of a player. When the chips are down, where's he? When you're in the trenches, where does he be? He's not in the trenches with you. Now, I have something else to say. Shevchenko. Why is Tierney not the left back at Arsenal Football Club? He's the best left back we have. He's also the only fucking captain we have at our club.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me get something else straight. This is Leicester Football Club. I was on the Jez Collins show last night and I predicted that Leicester was going to beat Arsenal today. Then I saw the lineups and I said to my brother, this is a fucking walk in the park for Arsenal. That Leicester side today, horrendous. And what do we do? Barely bet him 1-0. What a joke. Now, when we come up against a top quality team like Newcastle away, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, this left flank is going to catch us out unless we fucking do something about it. Now, we need to get things straight here. I'm looking at lads celebrating as if we're after winning the fucking Premier League. This Arsenal outfit, this Arsenal squad will not win the Premier League. Trust me. And when that happens, from this position, I want Arteta, Edu, and all the lads out my club. This is simple facts, lads. Eddie and Keaton, a fucking joke of a player. Odegaard. The list goes on. Ben White, Tomiyasu, Shevchenko. And he's actually, and we beat this bad Leicester team 1-0, and you actually think we're going to win the Premier League. Not a fucking hope. And let me tell you something. this man here, this new man there, fair play to you. What's your name? This the man here beside Darren.
Oh, me. Oh, me,
Yeah.
Napster. Yeah, Napster, yeah.
Mate, nice to talk to you. And listen to me. I was listening to your comments and you're spot on, 100%. This Arsenal team, if we're Arsenal Football Club, and it's the Arsenal that I grew up fucking loving, I don't want to hear any of this fucking shit. I'll throw it away at the Europa League to win the Premier League. Fuck off with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
We're in 2 competitions. We win the 2 of them. Our heads have to roll. It's as simple as that, then why?
Yeah,
And
I agree.
No more fucking excuses.
Yeah,
Now show us
100%.
that you're playing for the fucking jersey. You're playing for the Christ. And become legends at this club. If not, fuck off. Because today, in my eyes, was not only a disgrace. Poor performance. Desperate performance. I'm not happy.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'll come to you, Nap. So I want to actually come to you there because
Yeah.
Did you think he got the team right starting off? Were you surprised with Jorginho in if Partey is on the bench? Is Tierney to start for you? What did you make of the starting lineup?
I wasn't surprised first and foremost because like his like first team, decisions, like picking the team, it is so fucking predictable. If I can predict it, you can predict it. Carl, Darren, Warren, Manny can predict it. Any other Premier League manager, whatever we think of them, can fucking predict it. And like Carl made a great point, like with Kieran Tierney, he is literally our only leader. The guy should be playing week in, week out, and he will end up at Newcastle. Mark my words, he will end up at Newcastle, and he will be killing it. He will win the Premier League and whatever they'll win further down the line, and he's young enough as well to stay that course and join that project because it's very, very clear. I've been saying it and I've seen it for long enough that Arteta don't rate him. And if that's the case, well, that's fine. But then why didn't we get another left back that suited to how he plays? And again, that goes all the way up to the board. The board are fucking useless. We've got Boreham Wood level board. Our board is probably worse than Barnett's. That's what we're dealing with. Yes, we're in a great position right now, but back to the team sheet. Like we know Tierney's not going to play. We know he's going in the summer, but with the whole captaincy thing, I agree with Darren. I agree with Warren. Like the captaincy shouldn't be passed around like a fucking joint. It's not that kind of party, mate. It is literally not that kind of party. Like it would have made more sense to, at least for me, to give it to Granit Xhaka, and then if you want to make a separate armband for like Zinchenko for the war in Ukraine, no problem. So you kind of, it's like 2 armbands, but one's the captain and the other one's like for the whole situation in Ukraine, no problem. But Arteta really needs to fix up and understand that all the competitions that we're in, the Europa League, the Premier League, we have to go all out and we have to make a statement. 1-0 to the Arsenal with this team, the way we've been playing, ain't good enough. Because against the Newcastle, that will not do. Against Liverpool away, I know they got battered against Real Madrid, but it's Real Madrid. That will not do. When we face Man City, and they've already beaten us at home, I think they're the only team to beat us at home in the league. Yeah, it's going to be a long fucking afternoon when we go up to the Etihad. Albeit the Etihad, we can all say that all we want, but Arteta really needs to take a hold of this squad and manage the game in the game rather than, pick the team. You can do all that shit in the training ground, work on tactics, work on set plays, but in-game management is where it's at. I want him to be proactive. All we've seen him do is be reactive, starting Zinchenko every time. When Erdegaard drops stinker after stinker after stinker, who's there to replace him? Fabio Vieira. But then we got Smith Rowe on the bench, who, albeit he's made of glass, I'd rather him in the 10. Put Zinchenko in the middle, play Tierney at left back if you're going to go with a 4. Now, my thing is, the only way this works, if he's clearly not going to play Tierney, is play a back 3 of Ben White, Saliba and Gabriel. And then you could have like Trossard or Martinelli on the left and then Saka on the right, and then put Zinchenko in midfield. albeit, you know, Partey was on the bench, but you could have Jorginho and Xhaka there in certain games and then put Smith Rowe in the number 10 role. Because for me, Ødegaard, he's not a starter. He's the guy that you bring on in the last 20 minutes, last 15 minutes to see a game out. And I would play him deeper. I wouldn't play him at a number 10. I'd play him deeper. Because when he's at number 10, I've seen him almost on the edge of our box at times, trying to receive the ball. That's not where a number 10 should be. That's where a number 6 should be. Or a number 8, you know, depending like on what players that we have. So I think the balance is not quite there. And when you look at Man United, they've got a manager that is serious. And he's only just been in the door like 7-8 months now. They'll win the Carabao Cup because Nick Pope had a fucking heads gone fucking moment. And, you know, FA Cup, they might win that. But they're one of the favourites of the Europa League. So Arteta ultimately has to fix up because if we lose out by more than 6 points and if we finish behind Man United, sack Arteta. And the board need to fucking go as well. I mean, the board needs to go, period. Because Edu is clueless. He's on some brown envelope kind of thing. Vinay is a DFS sofa salesman. Useless. Garlic, useless. Tim Lewis, apparently he's like a lawyer, but he's part of the transfer committee. What? Why? Why? Bin his clerk as well. Like, we've got too many issues at board level, and what's going on the pitch is really papering over the cracks. Because next season, I guarantee it, and you can clip this, whatever, if we don't sort out these issues at our football club, we will be back to 8th position at the highest, guaranteed. Because the board ain't willing to do what's required. We got a manager that's overachieving this season, but again, took him 3 years. And the longer he stays, the worse it is for his managerial career. Because if he's going to do a Wenger and stay as long as he can on the money that he's on, he's not going to get a top job, and he's young. So he's in a great position to do that as long as he's achieving what he's, you know, set out to achieve, you know, Premier League, you know, Europa League, and maybe Champions League down the line, because I'm pretty sure for the most part we'll qualify for the Champions League, bar a massive catastrophe, because we've had a few scares of injuries and, you know, Jesus is coming back, Partey's hit and miss, you know, Smith Rowe's made of glass, you know, Martinelli, I thought he was injured today, and then, you know, Saka, how long is he going to last? So, but we'll just have to see at the end of the day. I'm buckling up. It's a hell of a ride.
Kyle, I'll go to you there, mate.
Yeah, I just want to say Leicester's 100% there. I went to the pub there last week to watch that other game, the game against Villa. I was with an Arsenal fan, big Arsenal fan. And we were drawn 2-2. And he was getting out to me for cracking. Why are you shouting? Why are you screaming? I said, because I want number fucking 1. He was satisfied getting top 4. Now here's the problem. Get top 4. Get Champions League football. What the fuck are we going to do with that fucking squad in the Champions League? And the lads that we just named out, Edu, Lewis, Garlicate, Vinay, Arteta. What the fuck players are they going to buy in for the Champions League even if we do get top 4? We're going to have another repeat of the Wenger days. Getting beat by fucking Bayern Munich 5 and 6-1 all over again. Because this current squad of players are fucking, they're not good enough for that standard. And my standard are up here. And let me tell you something. What's this fucking bullshit about giving Shaq a new contract and then Lenny a new contract? That to me proves to me, and fucking Jorginho, that proves to me that we're satisfied enough with the midfield that we have. So God help us next fucking season. We're not going to win the league this year. We're definitely not going to win it next season. They wouldn't buy the fucking 6 of us in the transfer market. Never mind top quality players in the Champions League. We're fucked. I'm telling you, you might think I'm negative. You might think I should be happy with this result today. I'm not. Today I was fucking disgraceful. We got away with a 1-0 win against a bad Leicester team. Fuck them, dead boy. That fucking squad ain't good enough. They wouldn't win the Western fucking league down here. That's the truth. People can come and say to me, Kyle, you're negative, this and that. My standards are up here. I want number 1. No number 1. Fuck off.
There you go. Manny, I wanted to just come back to you. Just was the Trossard the right decision for you up front? Drop Eddie.
Yeah, I'm actually going to sort of, go sort of segue of what Nasta was saying about how it might not have been surprising. When I took a look at the lineup today, I saw at least he was willing to make some changes, and I'm going to say this right now: the fact that Trossard scored that worldie and looked a lot more compact and a lot more, accomplished in front of goal, and we saw Martinelli also proving that he was showing some signs of getting a little bit back to his best, and of course he scored that goal. I would like to see that front three being maintained until the end of the season. And if that means no starting time for Eddie and more substitute appearances, sorry, son, it's the way it is. And it's karma in a way, because I think if you remember that ridiculous All for Nothing documentary, he and a mate of his, I think it was Emil Smith Rowe, were sitting at a table, and they were sort of Eddie was the one, in fact, who was mocking Sambi Lakonga for whinging and moaning about not getting the game time he wanted. Well, son, you've had starts all this time. You score 1 or 2 goals, you make your ridiculous call me maybe celebration, and then you hit a poor patch where you can't even hit a horse's backside with a banjo, and now you might have to come off the bench and not get the minutes you want. Let's see how strong you are. So going forward, I want to see this front three being maintained. Yes, it was a Leicester team. I predicted we would have a heavier win. Am I disappointed that we didn't score more goals? I am disappointed. I'm not about to blame the referees, not even for the disallowed goal by Trossard, because what Ben White did with Danny Ward, when I looked at it, was rather stupid, really. You can't just hold on to a goalkeeper's wrist and try to prevent him from moving. I mean, I don't rate Danny Ward as a goalkeeper, but even I could see from the VAR that was an impediment. But I want to see that front three being maintained. The only issue I have, of course, is that still Tierney is not starting. And we all know, every one of us can see that when he and Martinelli combine down the left, we see the best out of Martinelli, and Tierney's just wonderful. But to not even bring him on in the closing minutes, and instead you're bringing on Tomiyasu, that is a clear case of horribly taking the mickey. And I'm afraid, as much as we may not want to see it, as much as people will go on and on about how we need to have more quality in the squad, shout out, of course, to Hendon Guna. I'm having a discussion with him right now in the chat as we speak.
Big up, Hendon.
Yeah, so I'm going to say this. Players are perfectly within their rights to force a move away if they're not going to get the game time they want. Emi Martinez did it, and now we're going to see Kieran Tierney do it. I love the idea of also starting with Jorginho, because he also didn't seem to put a foot too much wrong for me today. And of course, with Partey's body not really being trustworthy, now we look as though we don't just have cover for the defensive midfield position. We got some good competition. And yes, it is very much a short-term pick. We all know that. We wanted someone else. We wanted Caicedo. We couldn't get him. But Jorginho wasn't a bad pick. And I think he, unlike Luiz and Willian, the other two Chelsea rejects, in recent times, he's actually hit the ground running, showing that he probably needed to have a new challenge and some new sensations away from Chelsea, if not from London, because he's still in London with Arsenal. So the fact that Arteta has made some changes and looked and has done and has seen those changes pay off, I think it's wonderful. There are still some issues. Mr. Walsh from Wexford has nailed it. Odegaard, without the captaincy, was anonymous today. And Zinchenko, I think Mr. Sullivan has also said it. There were some occasions when he went a little bit AWOL. He wasn't there to be seen. And we were lucky that Maddison wasn't in the team, because given that he plays as an auxiliary right winger, had he been there today, he probably would have skinned Zinchenko. While when Tierney started against Leicester early on the season, I'd like to think he had the measure of Leicester's right wingers. So Arteta still has to improve. Our squad will not be good enough to win. But here's the thing. City are also starting to fade away. They're dropping points. They're proving that they are completely complacent. And in as much as Manchester United are gaining momentum, they are still very much dark horses. So one thing which I'll agree with everyone on this panel is that if we don't win the league from this position, we have ourselves to blame, and several players in that squad should never be allowed to play for the club again. Eddie Nketiah is basically proving that he's not even good enough to play for Accrington Stanley. He will be! Exactly. And I think Odegaard is also, unless he really bucks himself up, he could even face competition from the likes of Fabio Vieira, and even he isn't really necessarily the answer to our problems, but he can also show some quality. But then we need some players who have some consistency. And in the summer, at least if we're able to, I want to see us win the league, okay? But regardless of what happens in the summer, we now need to strengthen. Because at least, for what it's worth, we've shown this season that we are capable of doing our bit, controlling what we can control, winning the games that we need to win. And, just staying up there or thereabouts. And it's ours to lose from this position. Yes, we've got to face Newcastle at St James's Park. We've got to face Liverpool at Anfield. And of course, most of all, we've got to face City at the Etihad Stadium. And there will be some other tough games in between. But for now, we're controlling what we can control. Was the performance good enough today? In some ways, it was good. In some ways, we should have done a lot better. We could have scored more goals. We should have scored more goals. All I can say is, while our squad is not good enough, we will take the 3 points and move on. But Kyle is absolutely spot on, and I've started to come around to his idea. If we don't win the league from here, some players' careers have to end at Arsenal, and questions will definitely need to be asked about Mikel Arteta. And if I never see Edu Gaspar and Vinay Venkatesham involved with the board again, it will be too soon. And yet, sadly, we all know that that's not going to happen.
You see,
No chance.
Manny made some good points there, you see. And what I'm saying is this, Manny, you said there about we have to get...
Poor chap's lost his battery, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
can you hear me? Can you hear me, lads?
Yeah.
Manny was saying about getting stronger. Let me tell you all something. We have the best chance to win the Premier League in 2 decades. All we had to do was buy quality players in January to push us over the line. Who the fuck did we buy? Yeah, Trossard, good player. Yeah, brilliant. Great sign. I'm delighted with that. Kia Warner, who the fuck is he? And as far as I'm concerned, Manny, I respect you, man. You know that's your opinion. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion, I want to put Jorginho in the fucking car park across the road here. He's a fucking Chelsea fucking reject. Go fuck himself. And as well as that, he's like a fucking statue in midfield. Fuck that shit. I don't want that kind of standard. I want better and bigger. And that's why we're not going to win the league title this year, because we fucked up in the January transfer window. The same way as we fuck up in the transfer window in the summer. Going over, you have to raise the standards, mate.
Yeah, and here's the problem. The reason why the standards are in the fucking gutter, and I agree with you, Carl, like, Jorginho ain't the fucking answer. Even short term, like, I didn't want him. But the fans are the biggest fucking issue. The owners aren't great. We all know that. Every Arsenal fan can agree the owners aren't great. But they're not as bad as FSG, and that's a fact. But the difference between Liverpool, while they've been successful bar this season, compared to where we have been in the last 3 or 4 years, is because they've got a strategy and a recruitment before, was it Michael Edwards? Michael Edwards, when he was at Liverpool and then he left. And Liverpool is struggling since he's left, which is no fucking coincidence. So the biggest issue is the fans, number one, and the board is the second, a very, very close second, because the fans as a whole are not setting the standards. Caicedo, if this was Chelsea and Chelsea didn't get Caicedo over the line, or like the types of players that they need, like in midfield, because they need midfielders, like, they would be livid. And they're livid with dealing with fucking Graham Potter, Lee Gunner's fucking doppelganger. So, and I don't blame them. But too many people let this board and a lot of these dead-ass fucking players that aren't good enough, like Eddie Nketiah, big up to Hendon in the chat. Spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. Eddie Nketiah's laughing all the way to the bank. 100k and the number 14 shirt. That's disgraceful. Only at Arsenal. We gave Gallas the number 10.
And that's
all the reason. I haven't thought about that shit.
Nate, and 5 million signing on fee. Just don't forget that.
Yeah, 5 million, yeah, 5 million, 10 million, 2 million, 1 million, whatever fucking million. Look, I've got more chance of winning the Euro Millions than this board, this Boreham Wood Barnet fucking board getting their shit together. That's how confident I am. I'll say that shit with my chest. And the fans as well, because all of this top four is garbage. Manny knows this. I used to play rugby and I'm a rugby fan and I'm watching the Six Nations in the background. They have a system in the Premiership, so their Premier League, where the teams that finish in the top 4, they compete in a semi-final, final, like knockout format, and they play the final at Twickenham. Why couldn't they do that in football, like in the Premier League? Because then the top 4 means something. So if we finish 4th, we could still win the league if it was that level of format. But there isn't one. So this whole top 4 thing is PR fucking nonsense garbage. Because all it does is Champions League money. Edu gets another brown envelope. Vinay can just sit there doing fuck all, getting the teas. That's the only time he gets up off his fat fucking ass. You know, his hair's going and he's fucking nearly 40. He's nearly 40. He's pretty much 40 and his hair's damn near gone. I thought he was 60 with the barnet he's fucking rocking. Jesus Christ.
Come here, he's up in the 40-year-olds. I'm 40-year-old in March, so relax. You hear it?
Look, I have nothing against 40, 50, 60. Look, there's 60-year-olds that look better than him. My dad's in his 60s. He looks way better than him. I mean, look at the state of that fucker. Like, look at the state of that fucker. And here's the thing. This is the problem. Everyone that said Wenger was the right guy to take us, you know, in the Emirates era, keep him till the end. This is the result we're having now. It looks great now, but it's papering over the fucking cracks. Once we realise as a fan base, the AFTV, all these other like wannabe journalists that are peddling this shit out on Twitter, on all of their socials, saying that top 4's the aim, everything's rosy at the club, we'll win the league. Look, I think we'll win the league, but I can easily be wrong. But the only reason why I think we'll win the league is because Man City are not that great this season. That's the only reason, really and truly, because I'm not convinced by these players. I'm not convinced by these managers. And I'm definitely not convinced with this fucking dead-ass, useless fucking board either. Because they fucked Arteta. And if Arteta wants to save his managerial career, if he don't win the league and the Europa League and/or, he has to leave. I would be scouting for, you know, top jobs like elsewhere if there's any vacancies. Because the longer he stays with this bullshit, he'll end up like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with no top job. So the way I see it, people, the fans need to get their shit together and put it on the football club. You know, it's easy to point it at the owners, but the board is the biggest issue and the fans need to raise their standards. That's the only way we're going to get success at this football club. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. It's going to be another 20, 30, 40 years, you know, till we win a league title or win any kind of European silverware, even the fucking Conference League at this point. So bring in the Saudis. Fuck it. Bring in the Saudis. I've been saying it. Like, we need massive repair. And if Man United get the Qataris, it's over unless we get the Saudis in. Because that's where we're at right now as a football club.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Look, that's it. And as it says, that's your opinion. Now, I just want to go back a small bit and talk about Manny. I thought he was right today, Manny. I thought you were right. For me, Jorginho played very good today. I have to give him his credit, and I will give him his credit. I don't think he's going to play good every fucking time he comes on the pitch, but I thought he played well. I seen the match, I was watching him, and that's my opinion. And that's why I'll back Mane there. I just want to go to Warren now because he's been sitting there probably itching to get in. And I know, Warren, you were doing your 2:30 show, your soccer Saturday show. Tomiyasu came off the bench for Zinchenko at left back. Why did Kieran Tierney not play?
Because him and Arteta have had a ruck. He's had a ruck with him. I'm convinced of it. And I've had a chat with you about what I thought might be the reason why Tierney's not getting game time. And it's a bit of a conspiracy theory. And a young fellow who was on here a couple of weeks ago mentioned it as well. And the more I think about it, and the more I think it's true. Because we're playing this ridiculous, stupid, suicidal tactical system of having no one on the left-hand side of the pitch. Everyone's in the middle or on the right-hand side. Soon as we come up against a team who's tactically well organised, they will exploit that and we will get ripped apart. God only knows what would have happened if we'd done that against Real Madrid, the way they played against Liverpool the other night, because it would have been double figures. They would have got double figures. Absolutely no doubt about it. We, at some point, are going to get an absolute hammering from someone. We are 5, 6, 7, something like that, because you cannot go onto a pitch and have one player on the left-hand side who's attacking left-sided player. like we have done and expect to get away with it. We got away with it today because Maddison wasn't playing. I don't know whether we played that system again today of like having Zinchenko playing in every single position on the pitch except the position he's supposed to be playing, which is left back, and having him playing in midfield. But that idea of having him inverting into the midfield is the most ridiculous and stupid and thickest bloody tactical system I've ever seen in my life. It is suicidal, absolutely suicidal. You are asking for trouble. And the reason you're asking for trouble, yes, the midfield will be congested and you'll be able to stop teams playing through the midfield. All they need to do is put a big ball over the top of the midfield into the right-hand side, on their right-hand side, and whoever's attacking down that right-hand side is going to be in. If they're not in, it will be because the left-sided centre-back is shuffled over. But then if you've got runners coming from into the central positions of our defence, you've got two of them, you've got two attacking players that have got to be picked up by one centre-back. Then what happens? I'm telling you, it's an absolute fucking disaster. And as far as Kieran Tierney is concerned, he needs to put in a transfer request. And if it gets refused, I'd fucking go on strike. Go on fucking strike, Kieran. Get yourself out of this shithole of a club because he's been treated disgracefully. And I don't know who it was earlier said about him going to Newcastle, but they're spot on. If he goes to Newcastle and plays under Eddie Howe, he will absolutely smash it. And he will show what I've been saying is true all along, that he's the best fucking left back in the world. He is, bar none. I fucking firmly believe if he's coached properly and he's working under a proper manager and knows to set up a team, he will show how good he really is. And I've just got one other thing to say to Natstar, right? Mate, Arteta and the rest of them, you all know this expression. It's a rugby expression. All of them need a fucking good raking. And that's the last thing I'm going to say.
Yeah, they need a bollocking, man. Yeah, I've had a few in my playing time, innit? Like when you're in the shit and you go in at half time, especially when it's fucking cold and rainy and wet. Yeah, I've been there, mate. I've been there. Like when you're not quite at it, even if obviously it's never deliberate. Like well, at least on my end, anyway. But like, yeah, when you're not at it, a proper coach will let you know, and that's what you get at grassroots level. Whether it's here, whether it's in Ireland, any of the rugby playing nations. I've been to New Zealand as well. They will fucking give it to you, like 100%. No holds barred.
I want to go to Darren next. Darren, just sort of on what Warren is saying there about Zinchenko. Like I was seeing Zinchenko today, and he was sort of coming in, obviously on the left-hand side of midfield, and he was pushing right into the midfield, nearly gone over to the right-hand side of the centre of midfield. And I was just there, who's covering Martinelli here? If the ball goes in over the top, we're in fucking really big trouble here. And I personally think, and it's nothing to do, I'm not like, look, I'm not going slating the guy. I think he's a great player and stuff like that, but I don't think he's helping Martinelli out on that left-hand side. Martinelli today was okay, but like I can't blame Martinelli for playing that way because he sort of has to think about, if the ball goes over the top of me, I'm not covered here. You know, what's your take on it?
Well, today, at one point, the commentator said, and here's Ben White. Ben White was left wing. So was he thinking, I need to help Martinelli out, or I need to cover the left, you know? And I just thought, people are just moving everywhere. And I mean, I know you've got to have a bit of total football, what Holland used to do, and everyone can cover each other and all that. But anyone can see over these few games, every game we see when Zinchenko's playing left back, is we'll get caught out at least 2 or 3 times in that game where he's jogging back to get back, and he jogs. He's not sprinting, he jogs. And they get chances, you know. And see, this is why I just think it's all well and good saying, we won 4-2 last week and we've won 1-0 this week. We've got the 3 points. And that's what it's all about. But subconsciously, I just wonder what's going on in these players' minds subconsciously. We're getting away with these wins. We're still top of the league. We're 5 points clear and 8 points clear of Man U. But subconsciously, are they thinking, well, actually, I don't like that? You know, like when you go to work and you come home on the train, you always hear people gossiping about what's happened during the day. Oh, he's told me to do this and I don't like him, and she's told me to do this. Da, 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 da. It's one thing, these players in the dressing room nodding their head at Arteta and going, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. But actually, does it sit well with them? Really? Does it really sit well with them that, you know, we've had a captaincy for Leicester away and then it's going to change again? You know, you've got to have some sort of consistency in your play and tactics. You've got to have a plan B. At half time in the Instagram chat, I said, we ain't got no plan B. We're just trying to go around the wings. And of course, the point we're all making is Tierney was that overlapping winger with Martinelli. Saka's got it. He's got Ben White raiding down the right, although we didn't see that much today. We saw it against Aston Villa last week a lot, and it was brilliant. But White wasn't what he was today, what he was last week. So 100%. I mean, I just think, do you know, I think the Zinchenko player signing, he is a quality player. He is. He's technically very good. He scores goals. He's passionate. That is a good signing, but it's caused us problems now. So it's not a good signing, right? It's now caused us fucking problems because we don't know what we're going to do with him. And all of a sudden, we've pissed off a player we spent 25 million on, which is what we spent on Zinchenko. At least, if you're going to go and get backup, go and spend 15 million or 10 million on a player, right, who's not quite as at that level as the main man, but he's aspiring to be what that main man is going to be. Bit like what Gael Clichy was to Ashley Cole, right? Wenger got Clichy on a free or whatever he did from France. Clichy turned up, nobody ever heard of him, and all of a sudden he got played in one of these League Cup games, and everyone went, "Oh, look at him! He's good. He's quick. He gets up and down the pitch, and he's Ashley Cole's understudy. You got to be an understudy." But Arteta and Edu have got the ready-made product in Tierney at left back, and then they bought another ready-made product in. To then go, oh, well, he's taking your place. No. It's a shit signing as far as I'm concerned. It is a quality signing, but it's also a shit signing because what it's done is just confused things now. Here we are having fan debate. We're top of the league. We should all be on cloud 9 and going, yeah, we're going for it. But we're not because we can see that it's all just upset an apple cart. It's just, and yeah, we'll get away with it against Everton, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Palace. Once we start visiting Man City away, Newcastle away, and Liverpool away, that's where we're going to lose 7 to 9 points. I can see us getting a draw from a couple of them games at best, and we'll lose one of them, and we might even lose all 3 of them. So whilst top gooners can be tucked up thinking they're all primed up for the league title, 5 points clear tonight, and 8 points clear of Man U, I personally think we need 9 points clear to start getting above our, hatching our eggs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sort of touching what Darren is saying there, Kyle. Are you, let's say, 2-0 to Villa today against Everton at home? Everton were at home. We got slapped. Are you confident for Wednesday night?
No, I'm not confident for Wednesday night, Del Boy. We have to be real about it here. We've been piss poor the last 4 or 5 games, you know. Sean Dyche also, he does the magic against Arteta every fucking time. So I think the home advantage obviously will give us a big boost, but I don't know. It depends on what Arsenal team fucking turns up. I just don't trust these bunch of players. I don't trust the manager. I see lads there saying they're all happy there because we're on top of the league table. I hope they are happy. It's not going to last too long more. you have to be real about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to be real about it. And from what I see, Del Boy, there's a lot of games to be played, my friend, and I don't think we have the squad to keep going where we're going. We got away with a 1-0 today against Leicester. We go into an every game. It's going to be a tough, difficult game, Del Boy. Nothing soft about it, man. We're going to be there at it, and I don't know. You can only hope for the best, but I don't know. Even Darren was saying there about Bournemouth, and we have Fulham and Crystal Palace. There's no easy game in the Premier League. You know, lads are there saying, "Oh, sure, the next 3 or 4 games should be 3 point, 3 point, 3 point," and then we struggle against Newcastle. We could struggle against Palace and Fulham and all as well. There's no easy game. I don't, basically speaking, Del Boy, I'm going to have to go then, Del Boy, when I finish speaking. I tune into the rest of the show there later on. But what I'm going to say is this. I just don't think we have the squad good enough to win the Premier League. I also like to just tip on this because I know you're going to talk to lads about it. The Europa League. We haven't won a European Cup since 1994. That's an absolute disgrace. It's an embarrassment. We have to go out and win that Europa League this year. Simple as. 1994. Did Alan Smith, Ian Wright, Kevin Cameron, Morris, all these lads, did they have the mentality of saying to themselves, "Oh, we're playing against a great Sampdoria team in the semi-final, so we mightn't have a chance"? We went out and we done it. Them to say, "Oh, we have Parma in the final. We mightn't have a chance against them." Because at that time, Parma had Thomas Brolin, Asprilla. They had a great team. But we went out, we won the fucking competition. This is the mentality that I'm talking about. Now I'm listening to fucking fans talking about who we want is in the fucking next round in this round of the Europa League. Who gives a fuck who we have in the next round of the Europa League? You have to beat the best in the competition to be the best. So let's go out and fucking beat them. Let's go and lift up the silverware. Simple. This is Arsenal Football Club. Fuck.
Yeah. Even
the way the lads are talking, you swear it was fucking Barnsley. Go out and win the fucking competition. And if you have the balls and you have the fucking talk like I see every day of the week on social media, go out and win the Premier League. And if not, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Like, Kyle, like the way for me, and I'm sure that you've got it as well, like, you know, because in Ireland, everyone's a United supporter or Liverpool. Like, you know, that's the majority of it, all right? On fucking Thursday night, I actually thought the Europa League was over. I thought Man United won it. Because the way they were fucking celebrating was fucking ridiculous. My phone nearly melted. I'm melted. Yeah, boy, we're coming for you. We're coming. They fucking want this trophy. They fucking want it. Well, I wanted fucking more now. That's why I look at fucking things. I want to beat them. I fucking want to beat them. You know?
Absolutely, Del Boy. And as well as that, Del Boy, you're sure to beat the prime Barcelona team. They're about one of the worst Barcelona teams I ever fucking saw in my lifetime. United fans, they want to calm the fuck down. But Del Boy, that's the mentality that I'm talking about. You don't see your fucking fans talking like that. Until our fans start acting like that, our club is going nowhere fast. Because at least their fans is demanding them to fucking win it. Our fans are saying, "Oh, who are we going to have in the next round?" Who gives a fuck who we're going to have in the next round? You go out and you fucking beat the opposition that's in front of you, and that's it.
This is it. Kyle, come here. I know you have to shoot off. Do you want to shout out your channel and stuff like that and what you've coming up and stuff?
Yeah, Kyle Walsh Gunner. Del Boy, I'm after hitting 170 subscribers. I'm absolutely delighted. I'd like to thank all 170 subscribers. It means a lot to me. And there's lots of videos coming. I actually did one. I was meant to drop it, but Del Boy, I'm going through a few things at the moment. You know that. I was meant to drop one there last night, but I will be dropping it. And I will be dropping one tomorrow, Del Boy. I need to go up to my father's house now, but tomorrow I'm going to drop a video. And basically, Del Boy, it's me talking facts about this result today, about the fan base, about the winning mentality, and what I want to fucking see from here to the end of the season. And that's the next video I'll be dropping. I'll be dropping lots of content, but I'll be keeping it real, and I'll be telling the facts, and I'll be telling people how it is. and I will be proved right at the end of the season. And when I am proved right at the end of the season, I want fucking apologies.
And do you have a little trip to make or anything like that?
Well, then, boy, we'll talk about that there. We're going to the Everton game. Myself and you, 2 Irish lads going over. There'll be fucking uproar. And especially if I see that fucking AFTV with the fucking shit that we have to listen to by then. Julian.
Well,
I
here,
love the boys into fucking Julian.
come
Been a
here.
lot of them.
Come here, you know yourself. I'll be calling Julian. We'll have to have a chat with him and have an interview with him, like, you know what I mean? And we'll see where we go, you know what I mean?
Then why I say now, if things go wrong and everything get the result, and the likes of Julian is talking shit in front of me, we could be ending up getting barred from the Emirates for the rest of our lives. Because I won't be holding back. I can fucking guarantee you that.
Look, Kyle, thanks a million for dropping by, mate. Thanks a million.
Then why?
Yeah, I'll take.
Thanks very much for having me on your show as usual, man. Big up to you. You're a legend. Darren, fucking gonna get that man's name wrong.
Natster.
Natster, yeah.
I've gone fucking blind.
Not for sure. Not for sure. It's fine.
I can't see the writing in the box. You're all legends. Manny, Warren, everyone in the chat. Every one of you. Legends.
Good man, Warren. Take care, mate. Thanks a million for that.
Bye.
Natster.
Cheers, Kyle.
Yeah, Natster, do you want to jump in there, mate? What are you thinking now with Kyle's comments and stuff like that? Like, you know.
Oh no, he's absolutely spot on, mate. He is absolutely spot on. I'm not as pessimistic, but I don't blame his pessimism. I really don't, because I've been seeing this shit. I've been saying this shit for way too long. Like the club standards is an absolute joke. I mean, if you're even talking about chucking a European competition, never mind a cup competition, we cannot be talking like we're too good to be chucking any competition. Yeah, I saw the Man United game. That Barcelona team is the worst I've ever seen in my life. And the last time we won a European trophy, I weren't even born. Barely, but I weren't even born yet. So you can kind of figure out the numbers there. Like, if we're meant to be a big club, right, we should be winning European titles. That's for a fact. I'm sick and tired of, never mind Man United, because Man United we know is a massive club. I'm sick and tired of Chelsea fans saying they're better than us when we have more league titles, but they've got the European pedigree, which we don't at the moment. And it's down to these fucking loser-ass fucking fans, the paid actors, Julian, fucking Cecil, Eder Militao, lookalike motherfucker. Like, that, it's all an absolute shit show. Like, these fans have got a lot to answer for. Like, the majority of fans, and I think it's a bigger problem when it comes to society. Like, modern-day sports fans, modern-day people are just so content with mediocrity. You know, Arsene Wenger was preaching for years, like the Champions League money, blah, 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 blah. The same guy that I'm convinced, personally, I believe, was getting kickback off of all the players that we sold. Adebayor, Cesc Fabregas, Nasri, Clichy, the list goes fucking up, Van Persie. I'm pretty sure he was getting a kickback off of them fucking signings. No wonder you were saying top four was a fucking trophy, because you were laughing all the way to the bank. You cunt. You absolute certified wet wipe. Because at the end of the day, right, at the end of the day, a lot of these fans don't realise what Arsenal Football Club is. And yeah, you can put it on the board, you know, the whole football club in terms of not educating the fans. But there's enough content now here, like Jez, you know, Kenny Ken does his Instas and he does great, like yourself, Del Boy, like Lee Gunner, Northside, all of that, that no one understands how great this football club really is. All of us here understand and know how great this football club is. But yet a lot of these spotty teenagers don't have a clue, because they're only interested in the here and now and drawing up fucking narratives. Fuck the narrative. I want the trophies here and now. Like Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? Fuck what you did last year. What have you done for me lately, yeah? And big up to yourself, Brandon, yeah? But, like, at the end of the day, right, I'm just going to keep this thing rolling for a little bit. Like, this football club, yeah, this board, this Borehamwood Barnet fucking board, yeah, I am sick of it. I am sick of it. Like, I know I sound like a broken record, but at the end of the day, in order for our club to be successful, we have to raise the standards. It comes from the fans now, because we're going to get left behind like some old bit of analog technology. Like, I even remember Piers saying, and I don't like Piers personally, but when it comes to Arsenal, for more often than not, he's spot on. Arsene Wenger, he said about him, was a Timex watch in a digital age, like an analog watch in a digital age. Now we're in a digital age and we've got a digital manager that ain't up to scratch, that don't have the full updates, don't have the alienware, spyware, malware, whatever fucking ware, yeah? And this manager will get found out because his stubbornness, a little bit like Wenger, will cost him. The fact that he don't even rate Kieran Tierney, I don't care if he put it on you. That's an issue. You got away with it with Aubameyang. Ozil was done and dusted anyway, so those were easier decisions to make. So I'm not going to give him loads of props for managing that situation. But when it comes to in-game management, he sucks. His man management in dealing with players is atrocious. And it's not changed. Only our league position has changed for now. But it's 3 years in the fucking making. Give it next year, especially if we don't win the league and we don't win the Europa League, and he'll still be here, right? He's going to fall to the wayside. He's not going to have another managerial job if he doesn't get success here. And I think deep down he knows it, but the problem is he has his own way of playing. He has his own way of management. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's still learning his trade. But again, that goes back to the board. And yes, you could point it on the owners saying, well, they shouldn't have appointed Arteta. They shouldn't have appointed Edu, Vinay, Garlic Head, fucking Tim Lewis, that fucking wet wipe. All of that. That's fine. But at the end of the day, the fans allow that shit. I'll give you this quick analogy, yeah, before I finish up. If you go to a supermarket and you buy this particular brand of bottle of water and it costs £1, you buy it, it's all right. But then you go and get the same bottle of water from the same brand that you bought last year, the following year, and it costs like £2. You buy it, you drink it, it's not really better, but it costs more. And you're just like, go on with the rest of your life. But then the year after that, you buy the same brand of water in the same supermarket, and it's £3 now. And you drink it, and nothing's really changed. Whose fault is that? Is it the business owners, or is it the customers, the consumers? It's the consumers' fucking fault. It's the fans' fault, ultimately, because the standards come from the fans. If it doesn't come from the owners, it comes from the fans, and the fans need to realise this shit. But the problem is we've got too many jolly-come-latelys, too many overseas fans that just don't know the football club. And I don't blame them for the most part, because there are a few, and I've spoken to a few and met a few that are absolutely sound. Steve and Matt being a few of them. But the rest of them, they just don't have a fucking clue. But again, it goes back to the club in terms of there's no education. They don't care. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's an absolute farce what's going on at this fucking football club. And we're just only pointing out the obvious, well, what should be obvious, that this club is going to be in freefall, worse than Liverpool, because we're managed atrociously. That's all I'm saying. We don't win shit this season, we're finished. Unless we get the Saudis in, bring that Saudi money. I'm all for it. You can bring all the politics you want, that's fine. I don't care. I want us to win because it's all about winning. What is the aim of elite sport? To fucking win. That's what I want. I don't want top four. I don't want Champions League money. I don't want Edu getting the brown envelope, going to fucking Sao Paulo and having good relations when we could have got Marquinhos for a free, or go to Brighton when we weren't willing to pay an extra 10, 15 mil, be like, if we keep good relations, because we're not willing to pay 90 million, 75 we thought would be enough. Get the fuck out of here. Cunts. Anyway.
Look, come here. I've just been drawn to my attention. Lenny's after saying, Del Boy, people are afraid to hit the like button. What the bleeding hell's going on, for God's sake? And before I come to Brandon, I want to go to just to Warren. Warren, do you want to you have to shoot off there, mate? Do you want to just give a shout out to your what's coming up on your channel and what are you doing next, mate?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Del Boy. Yeah, I have to go, unfortunately. I'd like to stay longer, but I can't. Tomorrow, I'm doing a watch-along for the France-Scotland Six Nations match. And I can't wait. I'm absolutely buzzing for it, especially after having today. It's looking like it's going to be a mass showdown between Scotland and Ireland in a few weeks for the championship. So I'm really looking forward to that. Del Boy Gunner, he will be joining me for that watch along when I do that one. So tomorrow, 2:30, it's starting. And let's see what happens then, because I'm really looking forward to it. And I just want to pick up something about what my friend who's below me was saying about the owners. I want a megalomaniac. I don't care where the bugger comes from, but we need a fucking megalomaniac owner who holds these people like Arteta and Vinay and Edu and all the rest of them to account, because I just think they're running amok and they're being allowed to do whatever they think. And we're top of the league. It's great. I'm absolutely buzzing about it, but I'm worried that it's going to all collapse again. I really am, because it's just I'm worried about what I'm seeing. I didn't see the game today, so I can't really comment about today. But the games previous to that, the most recent ones, we didn't look good at all. But we got 3 points today. 3 points is all that matters. And we march on, and let's see what happens next. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. Enjoyed chatting to you all. It's lovely seeing you all. Manny and Brandon, although you didn't get a chance to chat while I was on it, but it was nice seeing you anyway. Darren, top man. I totally agree with you about the armband, mate, 100%. And Natstar, don't forget those boys. They need a bloody good raking, mate. That's what they need.
Best believe, man. Like we're still winning at the moment, but because I'm watching the game on the side, but it's far from convincing. A lot like Arsenal, ironically, far from convincing, but we'll see.
It's a process, mate. It's a process.
Trust the England rugby process. The RFU, bunch of wankers. Me and my old man have been.
Anyway, I'll see you later, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
take care, mate. And,
cheers, Warren. Thank you.
Just hit up a comment here, CHB. For fuck's sake, let's be positive. We won the game. Exactly. I agree with you. Brandon, what the fuck are you saying? What are you giving out at this time, mate?
Welcome back, Brandon. We missed you.
Welcome back.
We're the best team in the world, boys. Nobody can stop us. Not even Real Madrid. Nobody can stop the Arsenal. We're just, I'm taking the positive, route now, because, them fucking idiots are still talking about me even to this day about something that I made a comment on 3 games ago. Like, why are you not talking about the fact that Arsenal just won today? Fucking wankers. See, it's easy to get in their heads, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden I'm the villain of the fan base because I called the players pussies, because I felt like we bottled it against Manchester City.
They're shook, Brandon. They're shook. They can't handle you.
Well, this is it, bro. Because at the end of the day, right, again, the facts don't lie. Going into January, we was 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Laughing. Now, with the fact that Manchester City are winning, it's 2 points. 2 points and 8 points, that's a big difference. Big difference. So, it's great that we won again today. At the end of the day, 3 points is all that matters at this stage of the season. I don't think we was very convincing going forward. Better defensively today, but let's be honest, Leicester didn't really test us. So, with regards to the game, I mean, there's a few talking points, VAR being one of them, I suppose, because Trossard's goal being ruled off, didn't make no sense to me. I know Ben White had hold of the goalkeeper's arm, but fuck me, it's a contact sport. Do you know what I mean? How many times is that going to get given now? Next week that'll probably happen, and they'll go, oh well, there wasn't enough contact for it to be ruled as a foul. There's not enough contact for it to be ruled as a foul. I could understand if he's yanking on his arm and he's pulling him about and he can't, it puts him off from getting to the ball. But that's just that was ridiculous in my mind.
No, Brandon, I'm going to disagree with you, mate, because clearly the highlights showed that White did have his hands sort of grasping Ward's hands like this. Now, he wasn't even touching the fella, okay? You hold someone like this, and Ward, as a goalkeeper, had to try to jump up and, claim that. He couldn't do that. I don't rate Danny Ward as a goalkeeper anyway. I know the Leicester and Wales fans chant his name to the tune of Daddy Cool from Boney M. Danny Ward, that. Yeah,
so
and let me
while-
I'll just finish quickly. It's like you hold the goalkeeper's hand like this. If you see, because Ward's hand was being held that way by Ben White, he could barely jump up and only ended up punching it. On first glance, I thought that was a goalkeeping howler by him, and I certainly don't rate him. But when VAR showed the whole thing, I thought to myself, Ben White, you absolute mug. You don't do something like that. And you can't use the excuse of, oh, football is a contact sport and expect players to get away with that sort of stupidity, which will be picked up by the cameras. So let's not crib about VAR mucking us over. It was Ben White who mucked us over with that moment of stupidity. And there's no guarantee that we wouldn't have scored if White hadn't have done that. Maybe Ward wouldn't have been able to claim the ball anyway. But, we were much the better team than Leicester. We were good value for a win, but we should have scored more goals anyway. So I'll come back to you, Brandon, but I'm going to disagree with what you said about that.
It was soft.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, Brad. Just very quickly, Brandon. Sorry to cut you off, but like it is soft, and I'm actually going to disagree with you, Manny, my old friend. Like it on VAR, was it a smart decision by Ben White? No. Is it soft? Very soft? Absolutely. Like in the Man United game when Bruno gave away that penalty, was it soft? Hell yeah, it was fucking soft. But was he stupid? Absolutely. And to be honest, I think Bruno did more to give away that penalty than what Ben White did to impede the goalkeeper, because it is a contact sport. Maybe I'm a bit biased because of like my rugby playing days, and I know rugby and football is very different. But at the same time, if you're giving fouls away for that, the game's gone. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of VAR anyway because it's under the pretense of perspective. It's not like goal line technology where is it over the line, is it not? Sometimes you could give a foul, you could give an offside. They draw the lines. Sometimes they don't draw the lines. They'll show you. They won't show. Like, it's just a fucking mess, mate. But hey,
yeah, see, that's where I'm at with it as well. It's a subjective, decision for me because at the end of the day, yes, it's been given, and you're probably right, Manny. Yeah, maybe it is right to be given, but I can guarantee you that'll happen again next week, and they won't give it. And this is where my problem lies with VAR. It's inconsistent. Do you know what I mean? Like, we see stupid ass decisions going against Arsenal and other teams, but then the following week it'll happen again, and then it don't go against them. It's like it doesn't make no sense. So yeah, on that perspective, I'd say I don't know. It's soft. It really is soft. But again, going forward, yes, we had 70% of the possession. We was more of the threat than Leicester and that, but again, not an overly convincing performance by Arsenal. And this is where I'm at with it. Manchester City, like it or not, for as poor as they've been this season, they are a force. They will not stop coming until the end of the season. We have to win more games than Manchester City from here on out to win the league title. And I just don't see it happening. I'll tell you what I didn't see happening last week was them dropping points to Nottingham Forest. But even then, it's only 2 points. 2 points is the gap. And this is why I was so angry after the Manchester City game at the Emirates, because at that point, I was thinking we could take 4 points off City this season. I think we could beat them at the Emirates and we could get a draw at the Etihad. Well, Manchester City said, nah, no chance. And they come to our ground and beat us comfortably at our ground through mistakes that we've made, right? Does anybody here see us going to the Etihad and getting a win? Because I don't.
Nah.
No.
And this is where my problem lies. Like when people, like obviously, my comments that were being made, maybe, it was the wrong comment to make, or maybe I should have put it in a different way. But by what I was trying to say, maybe in the wrong way, is that I don't think we've got enough to win this league title. I think that the momentum will be with Manchester City because they've been there, done it, seen it. There was 14 points behind Liverpool and they still won the league, for God's sake. Yeah, we've still got a young squad, a young manager who's still learning on the job. He's clearly very stubborn because he doesn't seem to like to change his tactics very much. Whether it's working or whether it isn't. we've still got tough games to play as well. We've got to go to Anfield. For as poor as Liverpool have been, it's still Anfield. We've got to play Chelsea towards the back end of the season. By then, some of their new signings might have bedded in a bit more. Who knows? You know, we've still got to go to St James's Park as well. These are not easy games. But like some Arsenal fans or the top gooners, you know, it's like it's a walk in the park. Like they think that, you know, from here on out, it's just going to be a walk in the park and we're just going to remain 2 points ahead of Manchester City. It's not going to happen. I can guarantee you now, Arsenal will drop more points this season, and so will Manchester City, but I just see us dropping more points than them. And that's all it is. It's not
like
it's
Brandon,
not
I know, I agree with you. I think the Etihad were losing that game. I think Anfield, the best result we can hope for there is a draw.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where does that put us? You know what I mean? Like, this is why I'm a bit relaxed. We have 14 cup finals left. Cup finals, you have to win. Because you're at the top of the league, you're going for the league. You have to win the games. It's as simple as that. Okay? I just want to bring in Vanilla Ice here. Buddy Quinn here. Sorry. How are you getting on, buddy? You all right?
What's the story? Sorry if you hear a lot of babies screaming in the background. These two are wrecking me head. I'm so sorry.
That's allowed. We're welcoming to all people. Don't worry.
What's happening?
Listen, buddy. Despite the foul language, we're always a very
I can't even do
family-friendly
this here.
channel.
Like, I have to go. You two stay here. I'm on the bleeding. Shut up, right? Don't be annoying me.
Del boy, I'm gonna have to shoot.
Yeah, Darren, no problem, mate. And do you want to
one.
give a shout out to your socials and stuff like that before you shoot off, mate?
Yes, Darren Sullivan 49 on Insta. Thanks for having us on again. Always a pleasure, Del boy Manning. That's
Darren, me kids aren't that bad. Fuck's sake.
good to meet you, Daddy Goo.
Yeah.
Fair play, Darren.
guys,
Thanks a million again,
Still
mate.
am, man.
Thank you. Cheers, mate. And Buddy, what are you saying there, mate? What you think of the game today?
Yeah, I only caught the last half an hour of the match, but I might have been listening there what everybody's been saying, like about Zinchenko and all, and like I know what you're all saying when he comes across the field. Right, shush now, don't be interrupting me now. When he comes inside into the middle of the park, you'd be thinking, as you said earlier on there, like who the fuck is covering Martinelli, like. But you cannot disagree that since he's come, there's like a new belief in Arsenal. I don't know what the situation is like, but like I actually love the way Zinchenko plays, and I like the fact that he gets on the ball and he comes inside, and he does it. I feel like he has like a little bit of a free roll. Would you agree that he has a little bit of a free roll across the back line?
Yeah, I think he does, but like, see, the only thing about it is it's at the left back line, and what I was saying earlier on is, I want my left back sort of up and down. I don't want them pushing into the middle or anything like that, and it's sort of I'm cautious of it, especially in a game like today against Leicester when we're only 1-0 up. You know, you need your back four solid. Let's be disciplined and get out of here with our 3 points. You know. But I do agree with you.
You know, I get that, but like if like the professional footballers, they have to understand that if one person drops in, the back three come across.
Yeah,
like the professional footballers, they have to be able to play that system. That it's you can do that in schoolboy. If one person goes, the other three come across and drop in. Well, I don't know. I like the fact that he gets on the ball and he goes with players and he drops into the centre. It sort of gives Partey and Odegaard that little bit of room to get forward. I know our Partey likes to stay sort of in the circle, in the centre circle, but I don't know. I can't say a bad word about him, really, to be honest with you, because I'm really, really enjoying the fact that he's now an Arsenal player and he fits into that Arsenal type of play. Like,
yeah. Look, that's fair enough. I want to introduce the Prince. He's giving out. He's mad. He's angry at the Arsenal fans. What are you saying, mate?
Arsenal fan, bro. Do you know the guy who just spoke? I 100% agree with him. The reason why we are is because of Zinchenko. That winning mentality, he's bringing it with him. Jeremy, we're not 14 games in now or 10 games in. everyone's going on like they were at the start of the season. We're in a title race. Regardless if you think we're going to win it or not, this guy has actually led us there. You know, Champions League football, we're one game away from guaranteeing it. Forget Champions League, we won the league, don't we? They're there for the reason, bro. And Zinchenko is part of that reason. I'm not with this Kieran Tierney feels sorry in business and all that. If you want to win, it's called sacrifice. Last year, I had and Brendan will agree with me. Like Brendan used to come at me. Brendan will agree. How many Arsenal fans come at me? Everyone. You know, and now, yo, bro, he's sacrificed. And that's what it takes to win the league. If you have to sacrifice Kieran Tierney, what would you rather? Be top, Kieran Tierney and the team, or be top or be fourth? That's the question out there. Because last year
that's where I disagree, Fuad. I think with Kieran Tierney playing in this team, even under this manager, will be levels. It doesn't mean we have to sacrifice Zinchenko. I personally believe that Zinchenko ain't a left back. He's a midfielder. Put him next to Partey, or even Jorginho. Drop Odegaard.
I totally agree with you. I'm not going to disagree with that. Like I just said to Nossa, I agree with you. You can play anywhere. But the thing is, like the brother was just saying, by him playing left back, for some reason, it's working. Because we're top of the table. We can't go any higher.
Fuad, I'm sorry, brother. Listen, let me tell you one thing right now. Look, normally we'd agree with that. And again, one of the things which I have to say is I don't like this attitude of if you want to make an omelette, you got to break an egg, because that's one reason why I prefer to have my eggs hard boiled, because you don't crack the shell until after you cooked it. But that's another thing altogether. All we're basically saying is there were times in this game, and even in the games previous, that Zinchenko was deemed to have been an absolute liability at left back because he wasn't over there providing defensive cover, and because he didn't overlap, Martinelli was being sacrificed. So you can't say hand on heart that just because, we're getting the results, it's justifying. No. It's not always that black and white. Saying but last season, wasn't black and white. Fuad, please, let me speak, and I will let you come back in. Thank you very much indeed, brother. Now, it's not always the case that the ends justify the means. You see, there are some gaping issues, because if you're happy to see Zinchenko, playing at left back, just cutting into the midfield and not providing the defensive support that the team would need, and end up leaving Martinelli isolated, you can't blame Martinelli for being out of form and say, he ends up having to play that way, but that's just the way it is. But because we're top of the league, that can be justified. No. It's not necessarily about changing a winning team, but it's also about sometimes improving a winning team. We see that today with Arsenal making some changes. He's dropped your boy Eddie Nketiah, for instance. He replaced him with Leandro Trossard. He scored an absolute worldie of a goal, only for that to be correctly ruled out for a stupid infringement by Ben White on the Leicester goalkeeper. But Trossard and Martinelli, as a part of that front three, showed a lot more application and a lot more precision and a lot more directness in front of goal and a willingness to take their chances than at any time during these past few games when Eddie Nketiah was up front. So that's an example where the team has been improved and the change has been made. So if that change can be made to improve the team, why can't Arteta at least look inside himself and say, you know what, maybe there are some problems on the left. I think Kieran Tierney has to come in. And yet he hasn't even given Kieran Tierney any minutes except for a mere token 1.5 minutes at the win against Aston Villa. That's taking the mickey. So I don't care what people think. That has nothing to do with trying to, be ruthless, any kind of ruthlessness or responsibility to the club, and more to do with a disgusting level of antipathy from the manager towards the player. And I want to see Tierney leave like you, because I believe he will flourish and prove Arteta wrong. But if you're refusing to make that change because you think that your way is working really well, when clearly it's in spite of those tactics, not because of those tactics, and you don't have the humility to acknowledge that, then that is one of the reasons why sometimes the manager deserves all the criticism that he can get. I'm willing to say, okay, we may be top now, but a lot of us are absolutely right to say, look, this is something that could come us to bite us in the backside later on. At the beginning, I was happy with the 3 points. But again, when you look inside everything, we've got the games we've got to play. We've got to think about how we can improve the team. And if there are some issues which could be exploited by even better teams, don't you think it's the responsibility of the manager to try to set that right? Of course it is. Maybe he'll probably do what he did against Liverpool and play Tomiyasu there. If it's for a tactical reason, then maybe fine. But then to completely freeze him out, not even give him any single bit of game time except for a token 1.5 minutes. That is just antipathy. Tierney is too good to be wasting his talent on the bench, and it's not because we all love him. I absolutely love him, but that's not because of that. It's because when you display that level of antipathy, and that antipathy can cost the team in some way by leaving the team unbalanced, that just goes to show that as a manager, you can't really manage your players, and that is quite simply dreadful on Arteta's part. So if we're winning, we're winning. But sometimes good managers have to be humble enough to say, maybe if something isn't quite giving me the results I want, I have to change it. It's what Carlo Ancelotti did with Marco Asensio. They went on to win La Liga and the Champions League. If Arteta has any sense of footballing now, he'd consider doing something similar.
He won't know, bro, because he's too stubborn. We see that against... But Fuad, come on, mate. Why did we... Fuad,
it's a results game, bro.
Fuad, listen. Why did we lose to Everton?
Oh, because Kieran Tierney wasn't playing.
Because Kieran Tierney wasn't playing.
Oh, okay, you're going off one game. Why did we beat Man United? Why did we beat the... Okay, I'm going to do you now. We've done a double on Tottenham because Kieran Tierney wasn't playing. We went in our field after 7 years because Kieran wasn't playing.
No.
You know, can we go on like that? We can go on all day.
Fuad, you're getting mixed up now, bro. I'm not saying that Kieran Tierney should be permanently playing for Zinchenko. What I'm saying is there are certain games where Kieran Tierney needs to start for Arsenal. Everton was a prime example. Brentford was another one, because when you play the ball through the middle too much, and teams start to realise that they can block you out, like what Everton did by playing three defensive-minded midfielders, and they could literally stop your flow of attacks coming through the middle. As the manager, you have to see that is happening, and you have to change it. And it just doesn't do that,
Brandon.
And that's why we won't win the league, bro.
But Brandon, I can relate to that. I can relate to that. If Zinchenko's going to keep sliding in the middle from now to the end of the season, then put Kieran Tierney left back. I can relate to that. But I'm not with the players. I'm not with the fans, and I don't care what any fan says. Because if they do, why were we Champions League football last season? Because the teams bottled it with Kieran Tierney in it. So don't come with all this, like with some of these fans saying about, I'm not saying Tierney should be in the team. I'm not saying this shit. But what I'm saying is, the fans got to understand, at the present moment, Zinchenko's mentality has got us there where they are. I'm saying, if, for instance, Everton now, if Zinchenko, to me personally, if he's going to keep going sliding in the middle, put Tierney there. I'm not going to say that, like you said, and that's what I said to you the other day when we were live. I'd rather see Zinchenko in the middle than Kieran Tierney left back. That's what I said to you. I've been saying that. But I'm not going to turn around, bro, and give all my spin out my W on Zinchenko, because Zinchenko at the end of the day might not be defensively good as Kieran Tierney, but one thing he's good at, well, what we haven't had for fucking 19 years in the team, a boy with steals. The only one who got balls in our team in the side of Everton is Zinchenko and Xhaka. That's why we are, because they go ballistic when we lose. And when they think, you should see how they go mad. You see how mad they are on the pitch.
Tierney also has that, though, Fuad. Do you know what I mean?
Not like Zinchenko, bro. Zinchenko got that. He's got that steal ball. He knows what he's gone to Man City.
So the question is, why can't Arteta put Zinchenko in midfield and Kieran Tierney at left back? Because again, I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example, right?
I'm not. Listen, Arteta's got to do that. He's got to do that at some point down the league. He has to do it.
Look at last week.
He has to do it.
Look at last week, yeah?
Yeah.
We was all sitting there going, 4-2 against Aston Villa. That doesn't tell the full story of the game. If we're being completely honest here, yeah, Ramsdale makes a great save against Leon Bailey, which could have made the game 3-2. And why did Leon Bailey get a free run at goal? Because Zinchenko was out of position. So that was a game that may have been a completely different result had that goal have gone in. And this is where Arteta needs to start learning his lessons, because he's not really learning his lessons from that sense. He's waiting until we lose before he learns a lesson. And that's no good. He's got to look at that left-hand side and think, right, we, at one point, right, before the January transfer window, we had the second best defensive record in the league. Since we had that run of 3 games where we just dropped points, yeah, we've just conceded chance after chance, goal after goal. And yeah, There's been games there where we've been good enough going forward that we've able to come back and change it around. But we're not going to be able to do that every single week. And this is the problem. Arteta has got to rectify what is going on in our defence just recently in terms of us conceding chances and goals and that. And do it now while we're still winning. Otherwise, it's going to come down and it's going to bite us on the arse eventually. And this is where, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Anyway, I've got to jump out, guys.
Yeah, fair play, man. Thanks a million. Prince, Natsar, I'll come to you. What are you saying about all this? What are you thinking?
Well, listen, I said that we can't continue doing we can't continue playing the same way from now to the end of the season. If Zinchenko is like me personally against the Man City game, I would have rather Tini start because Zinchenko, he's technically better than maybe Odegaard and Xhaka. He's technically better than Martin Odegaard, and he got techers, that boy. So no, I know Arteta's not going to do it, but I would put Tini there unless Zinchenko drop it in the middle and maybe drop Odegaard, not even Xhaka. I know, and that's
I hear what you're saying, Fred, but to answer like your question and what Delbo was saying, like, look, I said this earlier, right? I don't mind Zinchenko starting. That's not my issue. My issue is very simple. We're being exposed on the left-hand side time after time after time without the ball. On the ball, Zinchenko's class. I've never said he wasn't, but he's not a left-back. The reason why it worked at Man City is because of Pep Guardiola. Arteta is not Pep. Yes, Arteta's done brilliantly so far, but if he starts to get that pettiness, uber pettiness, which I'm starting to see, get the hump like he did with Aubameyang. Ozil was out the door anyway, so I'm not even going to use him as an example. Yeah, we have to play Tierney at left back because he gives us another option. We don't need to do this inverted crap. Look at what Ancelotti did, to Liverpool. Destroyed them. It could have easily been double figures because he was like, fuck all this inverted bullshit. Fuck all this modern day football. I've got the players and I know how to use them. Yes, they're quality players for the most part. Modric, I'm not even convinced that he's 38, 39. He plays like he's 28. Like in the prime of his fucking... No, it's some real shit. It's some real shit. But even if Ancelotti doesn't have the players like he did at like Everton. Yeah, Everton's a different club. Yeah, they're still in a bit of a mess. You know, Napoli as well, even though Napoli are doing better at the moment. But if you back that manager, if you allow him to do what he does, he will do the very, very best. Because for me, he's like the greatest manager of all time. But with Arteta, you're not at that level. You're doing well now. It's taken you 3 years, but you're not at that level right now. Put whatever aside with Tierney. If you want to get rid of him, which it looks like he does, then he'll go anyway. And if I was Kieran Tierney, I would go. As much as I love the Arsenal Football Club, I would go. But at least from now until the end of the season, because we're going to need him in the Europa League as well. Because I want to win that fucking thing more than damn near anyone. I'll tell you that right now. Just keep him at left back. Get him the game time. When we don't have the ball, you will see how much better we are defensively in the home fucking straight. Then you can play Zinni next to Partey. You know, you could put Xhaka at number 10. Because if anyone that should be dropped, I would drop Odegaard. Because for me, he shouldn't be starting every game. He goes missing too much. I wouldn't have given him the captaincy. I'd rather give it to Xhaka, at least for now. But honestly, I would give it to Tierney. But again, I know this manager don't rate Kieran Tierney. So it is what it is. But it's a simple fix because football is a very simple game. Once you start complicating it, you're going to land in trouble. And even the best managers, i.e. Pep, even Klopp to a degree, once you start overcomplicating it or get too stubborn, you're going to get found out, especially against the better teams and at the highest level. And that's
football for you, though. But that's football for you. It's like that's football for you. Like in the 80s, it's like regardless, like Charlie Nicholas was one of our best strikers. Like George Graham never fancied him. That's why he got rid of him. So it ain't like the player. I don't think it ain't like they don't rate the player or nothing. I just don't think he fits into the system or something. I don't know what it is, but like you said there, Kieran Tierney, we got to keep him fit now because we have got, he's injury prone, but now we've got in 2 weeks' time, we're playing our first Europa League game. We need Kieran Tierney for the Europa League. So let's see what he does, bro. But from now to the end of the season, I think I like today when you've seen Trossard start, Arteta's got to have something up his sleeve. He knows he needs to change it himself. He won't just keep playing the same 11 now. I think now the time when he starts getting his started rotating and getting his money's worth. I think Tierney, you will see him somewhere down the line in that starting 11.
But do you not think he should be starting? Like, were you happy with the team today?
Yeah, because, bro, do you know what is what Arsenal fans is? It's like the problem is, all right, a Leicester fan come out, all right, and said it himself, like, Trossard goal should never have been disallowed, bro. You know, we've seen worse than that in the middle. He wasn't even interfering with play. Trossard just banged the ball and put it in top corner. If Trossard was the one, by the goalkeeper and scored the header, you can argue that point. But he had nothing to do with it. He brought the ball down. He had enough time to defend the ball, and he put it in top corner. Jamie, so, you know, it's just football for you. But Kieran Tierney, to me, got to start somewhere down the line, bro. I'll be honest with you, he has to start somewhere down the line. Because I agree with Manny and your brother to a point where we are getting, when Zinchenko goes, I don't know, Zinchenko is like right back, left back, defensive midfielder, then he goes attacking, then he's a striker. See, so if you're gonna do, if he's gonna have a free role, put Kieran Tierney there, and you have to sacrifice. Personally, I agree with the brother. I've been saying it for ages. If you're gonna sacrifice a player, then it has to be Martin Odegaard. That's my opinion. I said it. I said it the other day on. I said it the other day on Finn's show, on Jez's show, and I said it a few weeks back. If anyone needs to be sacrificed, it's Martin Odegaard for Zinchenko.
Well, who are you playing instead of that then?
I'll put Xhaka there.
Put Xhaka at number 10.
Put Xhaka there. Or put Zinchenko there. Because technically he is attacking. He's technically better than Martin Odegaard anyway. And he can find the pass anyway. So I don't think we'll miss him much if Zinchenko's playing there. And with Kieran Tierney there, you know already, Kieran Tierney, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White will be solid.
Agreed completely. So quick question to you both then. How's this for a formation? Back to the 4-2-3-1, which has served us well. Back four as it is, except Tierney comes in at left back. No questions asked. Of course, Saliba and Gabriel stay there for now. Now, two defensive midfielders. It can be Zinchenko and either Partey or Jorginho. An attacking midfield three of Gabriel Martinelli, Granit Xhaka, and Bukayo Saka, and Trossard up front. Would you all approve of that formation?
I would agree. The only thing I would change, or I would cement rather, is Partey has to start. Like, okay. I don't mind if you have Jorginho next to him and then put Zinchenko at cam. I don't mind if Xhaka is next to Partey and then you put Xhaka at cam. Or, you know, but if you are gonna not drop Zinchenko, then for me he either has to be next to Partey or he has to be in that cam position, because we know he can strike the ball well. We know how technically good he is. So whether it's Xhaka or Zinchenko, for me, Odegaard has to be sacrificed. We can all agree on that. Fuad's just said it, and I fully agree with him on that. So then the question is, well, Jorginho was brought in for backup. Okay, then why is he starting on a regular basis if Partey's not injured? Well, Partey came off the bench, so he's not as bad for now. But again, like with Jorginho, he's a great option to come off the bench. And I would argue that he's better than Odegaard coming off the bench in most situations, because with Odegaard, the only time you bring him off the bench is when the game is like won. Do you know what I'm saying? Or when you're trying to see out a 1-0, not even 1-0, like a 2-0 win. Do you know, like a 2-goal deficit. Odegaard's perfect, but Jorginho, even if it's 1-0, he can control the game. Because when we had Xhaka at number 10, we were flying. And then we had Partey, and do you know what I'm saying? And Odegaard was kind of dropping a little bit. That worked. But Odegaard is not cutting it. He's not scoring the goals.
But
I agree completely.
Is he trying to please everyone, keep everyone happy? We're all friends.
I don't think that's the case, Del Boy, to be honest. I think Arteta is very stubborn. He has his way of playing and he has his favourites. But again, all managers have favourites. So I'm not going to pin it on just Arteta. My thing is, you're sacrificing the wrong kind of player. You're sacrificing Tierney, and that's critical. That is suicidal. Yeah. You should be sacrificing Odegaard. I'm not saying bin him out the squad. Just drop him to the bench. Agreed. Because it's easy to put Nketiah on the bench because you know Jesus is coming back and Trossard can play up front. Martinelli can play up front. Hence why I call him Gabard 9, because when you give him that opportunity, he does a madness. And he's got probably the highest ceiling at the football club, bar Kieran Tierney, who for me is the best left back on the planet, because he does both jobs very, very well. Is he as technically good as Zinchenko going forward with what he does? No. But as a left back, an out-and-out left back, there's no comparison. There's no comparison. Ødegaard has to be dropped. He's not been performing. Xhaka's not been performing recently, but I'd rather him, because at Cam, further forward, you know what he can do, and he's good on counter-attacks as well. A Xhaka boom in that number 10 as well, because if you remember, just very quickly, remember what he was like before we bought him from Mönchengladbach, where whoever the manager was at that time, you know, however many years ago, where was he playing? Number 10. Because that manager knew that Xhaka's best attributes, assets, is further forward in that midfield. He's not a false 9, he's not a striker because you don't have the mobility, you know, and he's not clinical within close range, yeah? But what he does have is a range of passing. He can score free kicks and he can score like a humdinger. Do you know what I'm saying? So use him for that. Yeah. You don't use him as like a DM or, do you know what I'm saying? Like as good as he is on the ball, defensively, off the ball, we know his weaknesses. With Ødegaard, yeah, he presses, but again, that's not good enough.
Now, can I 100% agree with you, Nat, sir. I really do, right? Because I remember that the season that we signed him, I think it was the Euros or the World Cup or something like that, that we signed him in the summertime, and then we were all there.
Euros,
yeah, who the hell is this guy? Like, you know, and I remember him on the edge of the box. The ball came out to him and he scored a worldie, and I was just there. That's exactly what we need. Exactly.
And we've not seen that since on a regular basis.
Exactly, because we're after pulling them back. Now, my sort of counter comment to that, I agree with you. I do agree with you. But because he's 30, 31, whatever, is his legs start to go? Can he get into that box? Can he get into that position? Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. But here's the thing. He's not a Lampard-esque, like, sort of, like, Dele Alli kind of like, look, don't get me wrong, Dele Alli for me is technically better than Lampard, but Lampard gets you the goals. I'm not saying Xhaka's like a 20, 15 goal a season player, but what he does give you, and look, I'm not Granit Xhaka's biggest fan by any means. I'd rather another player, but with what we've got right now, I know how to use him. See, if I know how to use him consistently, you know, and keeping things very simple, working with your strengths rather trying to put square pegs around holes, which is what Arteta's doing. It's square pegs around holes, and it's very simple. Drop Ødegaard, because if you can drop Nketiah, which was the right thing to do, and when he came on, he didn't do much, because, let's be honest, he's a third-tier striker on 100k a week. We should have binned him for 20 mil. But look, it is what it is. Like, I think Balogun's better, but, you know, he's killing it in France. You can say whatever you want about the French league, but it is what it is. But it's the same fucking thing. Football is a simple game, and if you play it right, you're going to get results because it's a results-based business. Ødegaard is not cutting it. Now, the fact that he didn't, that he gave the captaincy to to Zinchenko today, even for the Ukraine reasons, shows me that he's willing to not give it to Ødegaard. Which, if that is the case, give it to Xhaka. Because obviously you don't rate Tierney, but still play Tierney because he's the only left back we've got. You can say he's injury prone and all of that, but again, there's what? He hasn't played that much, so I don't think he's going to get injured, especially majorly, till the end of the season anyway. So there's not really that much of a risk of bringing in Tierney, especially when we literally don't have another left back. We literally don't have another left back. You know, the Xhaka putting him at left back, you know, doesn't work, you know. Like, without the ball, maybe in certain games, but, you know, against the better teams, you know, we got found out like we did last season and the season before that. But with Zinchenko, it's very simple. Just put him in midfield, whether it's next to Partey or at Cam. But if you are going to play Xhaka, I will put him next to Partey and drop Jorginho to the bench because he was only there to fill the gaps in the squad. Do you know what I'm saying? And I know Jorginho's strengths. And again, not my type of player. You know, I don't rate him highly, but I know
he's effective. He's effective, though. He's very effective.
He's effective in certain, He's effective in certain places, times and in certain games and all of that. But I wouldn't start him every single game, bro.
No. The reason, do you know what though? Do you know what? I can see, I can see why Arteta I can see why Arteta is like why he's playing Jorginho, because like you've got to bear in mind, all right. You know, I think we got a game in. We got one game in March. Then we got another game. We got 2 games in March. Like I think we got one on the 1st. We got 4. One on the 1st, the 11th, and I think the 18th. Then we go on our break. Do you remember we go on our international break after the 18th, and we go back on the 1st of April. So we got 2 weeks off. That's when we need. But the thing is, what scares me the most is, are they going to do what? Are they going to act like an Arsenal going to be like a big club and say, oh, we can't send Partey because he's injured? Or they're going to be like a small club and say, yeah, go represent your team and come back injured?
No.
Because Alex Ferguson used to keep his best team. Oh, Ryan Giggs is injured. He can't play for Wales. Right? So that's the thing. This is where you got to test their waters. And I think Arsenal needs to say to Partey, yo, say, listen, because you know, in April, our fixtures, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City,
Newcastle.
You got to keep Partey fit for them games. So now is a chance where you can actually like get away with playing in these small winnable games, playing Jorginho. But in them games, you need Partey and you need Gabriel Jesus back, and that's why Jesus will be fit by the 1st of April. He'll be fit, and that's when we got to start playing them games. Chelsea thing. So it's down to the management experience now, because I think Partey, they've got to keep him fit, man.
It's all down to now, let's say, club power. Okay,
yes.
in that period. Okay, you sit these players down. Let's say whatever players we could be here all night. Let's say the 5 players that we're saying, right, they don't go to international duty. You pull a sickie on them ones. I don't give a fuck who they play for.
Yeah,
if it's England, Ireland, Scotland.
There's no World Cup as well. There's no major tournament. There's no excuse.
It does not matter. It does not matter. I don't care. I don't care who they play for. You sit them down and just go, we're this close from a Premier League title. We need you guys. We need you guys. Because Wenger done it, or whoever it was, Emery done it when he had the 5 captains. Okay, you're the 5 captains this season to bring us the next few weeks. We don't need you on international duty. We could go on here of what players it is, but we can certainly pick about 4 or 5 players that don't go on international duty. And it's all down to the management and what Arsenal have to say to the international teams. But I don't want to see Zinchenko or Jesus or, Partey going over to these games when it's only the start of their qualifiers for their Euros, their African Cup of Nations, their whatever they're involved in. Manny, do you think that we can do that? Can Arteta and Arsenal as a football club turn around to international teams and say no? Because I'll tell you one thing, just before I go to you, I remember Steve Bruce was asked to play for Ireland at the time, and Fergie just turned around to him and he just goes, I can play for Ireland. Go to the World Cup. This was at a time in the summer. Go to the World Cup, 1990 World Cup, when Ireland had a brilliant World Cup. 94 it could have been. And Fergie just goes, no, you will not play for any international team. And it was that simple. And he done that back then.
It's chalk and cheese now, Del Boy, because let's make something crystal clear. The parameters surrounding club and international football back then in the 90s are completely different to what it is right now. And for a lot of these foreign internationals, they consider club football to be a stepping stone to earning international honours. Never mind how much they're getting paid at club level. And the fact is, they're justified in earning those salaries and expecting those salaries because they're sportsmen and entertainers. And so if there is a situation where, let's take Kieran Tierney, for instance. Now, he and Andrew Robertson are 2 top quality left backs for Scotland. So at times, any other manager would find a difficulty in sort of trying to pick who would be better out of them. It would sort of be like the situation that England had when we had Peter Shilton and Ray Clements, and managers ranging from Greenwood to Bobby Robson didn't even have a monkeys of who to play at a time. Eventually, I think they preferred Shilton for the major tournaments, much to Clements' chagrin. But Steve Clarke, credit to him, has managed to play both of them in his system. Of course, with Tierney not getting many games, I don't see him being called for Scotland. But on the other side, this could very well be a chance for him to get some minutes under his belt so that he can stay fresh. So if Arteta were to actually sort of create a situation where he says, Kieran, you're not getting any minutes, but I want you to stay here and continue to work hard. I'll give you some minutes when I feel like it. I'm sorry, but if I were Kieran Tierney, I'd be saying, look, you are screwing me over. And so hopefully Arteta will have the sense to say, we can't do that. We can't do that. And in many cases, these European games are pretty much, within the continent. No, there's not that much of much travel involved. When it comes to the likes of Thomas Partey, for instance, and we all know that his fitness record is quite questionable, to run the risk of having him go to play for Ghana and then coming back with an injury, which did, mind you, happen before the World Cup, that may not be a risk that Arteta is willing to take. And of course, I remember speaking about the Jorginho Partey issue with Kyle last week when I had to moderate the discussion. He was saying that as excellent as Jorginho has been, Partey just offers a little bit more, and so when fit, he has to start. And I agree that as well as Jorginho is playing, I wouldn't necessarily want to start him in any game if Partey can provide more. But as long as Jorginho is doing really well, and is quite fit, that competition can only be a good thing. But back to your question. No, I don't think Arteta can do that. I don't even think Ancelotti will be able to do that either, because players also now realize that the extra level of publicity and the fame that comes with playing international football. And we've seen with the World Cup coming in the middle of the season, how so many players have had that at the back of their mind. It's affected, their form. And so I'm one of many people who think that who will say that if we never see a World Cup or a major tournament in the middle of the season before Christmas, it will be too soon, because that has just proved to be awful. And if you talk about the South American teams who've had to adjust to that, bear in mind that most of the South American players in those squads play in Europe anyway, so they're well adapted to having played a full season of club football and are mentally ready to play in the tournament. But again, I don't think managers will have the power to refuse players being called up for international duty. And certainly if that player himself is a high-profile player for his country, would a manager be willing to run the risk of, falling foul with both the player and that country's board? It's very easy to say that Arteta should flex his muscles, but he also knows that with Thomas Partey, he has a player on his hands who's also a really important player for Ghana. It could very well be that the Ghanaian Football Association decide that in light of Partey's poor fitness issues and injury record, that maybe selecting him for a few friendlies would not be the best idea. And if they are friendlies, I say, you know what, maybe the players also can speak to the managers in question and try and explain their situation and say, you know what, it just isn't worth it. But if it's a qualifier, and the national team managers really want them, then if the managers today are going to try and, flex their muscles, as it were, there is going to be a little bit of a controversy. So I don't think Arteta will have the power. If he tries to, then he is going to be in for a lot of trouble. And in as much as we may feel that he is in on the right, sometimes as managers, you've also got to consider the best interest of the player in terms of making sure they get some decent minutes. And injuries are there for everyone to take in both international football and club football. So those days of the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson trying to, throw his weight around and say to a certain player, you won't be playing in internationals because I want you for my club, those, I'm sorry to say, are long gone, because especially with the increased financial rewards for playing international football and winning matches and qualifying for major tournaments, I don't think any ambitious player worth his salt will want to miss out on that. And if it means, that sometimes club football might be sacrificed, so be it. Besides, this is one of the reasons why we have big squads. We're supposed to have big squads for this reason. You buy international players, you buy the best international players because of their performances at international level, but then you don't want them to have an international career because you want them for your club. You're going to open up a can of worms, and that's the way it's being right now.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I can't disagree with that. I just want to go around to each and every one of you before we go. Prince, do you can you see anyone else challenging via Man United or anything like that, giving us a bit of a scare? Because if we get a loss or a draw, is there I know.
No, I don't think. Listen, we like, the thing is, Man United have hit a form in a time where you're not going to keep this form up from now to the end of the season. So I don't think Man United is scared. I don't think they are going to have a good season. They might win tomorrow. They might lose. You never know. But when it comes to their league performances, it's like they to me, Man United ain't in the title race. So that's my opinion. Other people I like saying, and I said that from the start, and I'll stick to my guns. I don't think they're in the title race, because I can't see them winning, keep this. I can't see this form continuing. You know, sometimes it's like against Leicester, even though they beat Leicester, the first half, Leicester missed sitters. But you've got to put them balls in the net for you to lose anyway. But Man United are doing well. I think they'll definitely get in the top 4, like no doubt. But when it comes to it's a big ask for them.
Nasser, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Man United have, they've been looking kind of scary. As you know, like I rate their manager highly, and this season he's definitely proven his soul. I think if they don't win tomorrow, like that is a damning indictment, probably more on the players than even the manager. I'm not saying the manager would be blameless in that scenario, but no Nick Pope, no Dubravka, even Karius was questionable, like with a broken hand or whatever. They have to win that, and Nick Pope fucked it for them, but Newcastle will be back. But I digress on that point. But in terms of like keeping this form up, they can, but will they? I'm not too sure, because defensively, Man United are not the most sound. Like they've not been like Newcastle, they've not been us this season, especially in the league. Now they've shown in Europe at this moment in time, they're definitely the favourites for the Europa League, so they'll definitely do bits in that competition. They might have an FA Cup run, but again, that depends on who they get and how they play. If Ten Hag's going to switch things up, so they might win it, they might not. If they win the Carabao Cup, they'll go for the FA Cup. But again, it's just like he'll have to manage his squad, and there will be an inevitable like drop in form. But in Europe and in the league, I think the league, they're in a title race. But will they? The group of players that they've got, will they be able to not so much handle the pressure, but will they be able to get it over the line? Not this season. Next season, maybe, because like Ten Hag will have he'll know what players that he's got and what he wants. And Man United will have a lot more to spend and blah 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 blah. But I just think at the end of the day, there are other people challenging teams for this title. Newcastle, I think, will get into Europe. Whether they get Champions League, who knows? City will definitely get back in the Champions League, but when it comes to us, we just got to keep winning games, and we've shown that we can. But again, the only person really, other than the usual suspects, that's going to fuck it up is really the manager. But in regards to Man United, it's more the players than the manager. Do you know what I'm saying? Can those players that haven't been good enough but have been performing well recently, can they keep it up? I don't think they can. The likes of Casemiro will. Varane is starting to pick up a bit of form. Anthony, I rate highly. Rashford's been doing well, but again, we've seen Rashford drop off. Rashford will have not a stinker like till the end of the season, but his performance levels will drop. It might not be significant, but he will drop, which means their goals will drop a little bit. So in terms of them winning the league title, I don't think they will. They'll be close. They will be close, hence why I think they're in the title race. But I think this season they won't do it. It will either be us or Man City, that's for sure. But I think Europe is their best bet, other than the Carabao Cup, which I expect them to win tomorrow. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm going into Dublin City Centre with 4 Man United supporters. I'm going into I'm going into the battlefield with all of them. They'll all know that I'm an Arsenal supporter. So when they win, they'll be all over to me, giving it fucking loads, and I'm expecting it, but I don't give a bollocks. But anyway, I just want one more question to each and every one of you before we wrap it up, right? If Arsenal win the league this year, okay, when do we get respect on our name? You know what I mean? The pundits are there. Oh, well, Man City are going to be up there. Man United, Liverpool. Will Arsenal be in that? When do we get a bit of respect on our name? You know what I mean? Prince, what are you saying?
Oh, we got to, to be honest, you pundits, they've always had an agenda against Arsenal, and a lot of teams, not just Arsenal. But the thing is, when you win the league, they can say what they want, innit? We know as Arsenal fans that we're champions for the reason, because we've won it and we've earned it. So yeah, if Arsenal wins the league, they'll put respect on our names. But even if Arsenal wins the league, we've won the league and they've still gone on about Man United. Do you get me? So It's just, all the pundits are Man United and Liverpool fans, especially like the ones in England, especially the ones on Sky Sports. So yeah, you just gotta. They won't do it. Even if Arsenal was it, they'll find an excuse. Well, Man City had a blip, but Man City, do you know what? They're winning 4-1. But bro, the reason why they're winning 4-1 because Bournemouth come out and try playing football against them. You get me? You playing into their hands. You don't play football against Manchester City.
No.
So,
yeah, but here's the thing. At least Bournemouth have scored just now. So,
yeah, I know. That's the thing about it. They've scored. So, but like I said, like all the pundits are Man United and Liverpool fans. So yeah, it's going to be quite hard, like for them to actually give praise to Arsenal.
And
But then you go on, Manny.
Yeah, Manny, what are you thinking about that? Like, if Arsenal won the league, when do we get respect? When do people start talking about us that we're actually a good team?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Let me also preface that by saying this about Manchester United. If they had beaten us at the Emirates, or maybe even, if they had beaten us, then we could say they're in the title race. But to me, they're just dark horses at the moment, and they're still going to have similar tough matches to play, particularly against Liverpool at Anfield, who will be determined to avenge that reverse. So I just think that even now, in as much as they're in some really good form, the gap is probably just a little bit too big for them. And the fact that they're still involved in all 4 competitions means that I just don't think that... I think their league form will drop off. It could very well be that, like Liverpool last season, they could certainly win both domestic cups and make a good run of it in the European competition they're in. But as far as winning the league is concerned, I think they're just a little bit too far behind to catch up with us. It would take a huge catastrophe from either Arsenal or City, a huge slip up for them to even be back in contention. But stranger things have happened in football. We've even, when we won the double in 1998, I think it was, we overhauled a 12-point deficit against United to win that, I think, with a game to spare. So things can happen, and history will be on our... we could look back at history. But to answer your question, let's also go back to history and look at the Leicester team, which won the 2016 Premier League at our expense, despite us doing the double over them. We were in contention to win that league, but then also drastically fell away. And the following season, Leicester were completely beset with so many problems, particularly ranging from many of their star players like Mahrez and Kante and company being sold to other clubs who wanted them, and they ended up flourishing elsewhere. Leicester simply ended up, floundering. At one point, were almost in line to be one of the few teams to be champions previous season and then relegated the next. So it was only after they started gaining a little bit of consistency under the likes of Brendan Rodgers, when they started punching above their weight and even winning the FA Cup, that people started to respect Leicester as a team who didn't just have one lucky season, but who was certainly well worth their value in competing in the Premier League and staying in the Premier League and even punching above their weight and fighting for the top honours. So next season, it's going to be the key. And that segues into what Napster and everyone else have been saying about how all of these successes have been papering over the cracks. And you know what? I couldn't agree more. I'm not one of these deluded people who, despite everything, is happy with the win. I'm going to say, despite being happy with the win today, I'm also cognizant of the fact that we've got some issues. And unless those cracks are properly addressed and filled, next season we could very well be found out. So next season, if we fail to, back this up with at least a display where we are once again competing for the top honours and really doing well in the Champions League and not just setting ourselves up to be thrashed by Bayern and company 10-2 on aggregate, then we're also going to be just, laughed at as a team which, yes, we won the league, but it was really down to City having a dreadful blip. And as I speak, Bournemouth are now coming at City with more attempts on goal. They could nick a couple more consolation goals and turn this into a 3-4 grandstand finish. You don't know. But to answer your question again, next season, we've got to continue the good work. Next season, we've got to show that we are serious about building on our successes by making some proper signings, and also making sure that we maintain that form and really start performing well as a well-oiled unit, and not just getting results in spite of our tactics rather than because of our tactics. It all depends on next season. Not that the season will be a write-off by any means. I'm enjoying this season. I'm happy with the success, with the way we've done. I would be angry if we lost the league despite being in a very comfortable position. But at least this season, we've shown that we are willing to recover and start competing again. But that being said, we won't be worthy of respect unless we can continue to back up our big words with big action and big plays on the field. And on that, I believe Napster, you might agree with me on that.
Yeah, I probably will. I think the one thing that would give Arsenal Football Club the most respect is to sack this fucking useless board, and for the fans to fucking check themselves before they wreck themselves. Ice Cube settings, best believe that. Because at this rate, right, yeah, look, I'm holding my hands up for now. Like, I'll give Arteta his props now, but I won't give him his full props unless he either wins the Europa League and or wins the league. Because Arteta knows himself. You know, you can be like, you know, everything's cushy, blah blah blah. You know, like not be have ill like faith or ill-tongued about the board. You know, for obvious reasons. You know, because it's your first job and all of that. I get that, but the longer it goes on and you fail to realise where the weaknesses are and you don't fix them rather than paper over the cracks, the worse it's going to be for him. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it was before you came on for that. Arteta, right, has to realise that, look, just like when you're in your playing days, it's a short career. I know managerial career is longer, especially if you do well, but he has to look at it from his point of view as like, I have to be successful, because even if this board are willing to keep me on for life, I'm not going to get a top job and I'm going to end up like Wenger. Not even like Wenger, like, because Arteta's not going to get a job at FIFA. He's too young for that. Not right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe a lot down the line. But again, he's not a Wenger type of guy. He's not that guy. Do you know what I'm saying? He's not a Ferguson. He's not a Wenger. You know, he's not an Ancelotti. And Ancelotti's still managing. So at the end of the day, this board is what's holding this football club back, and the lowering of standards from the fans. Once we sort that shit out, Chelsea are in a whole heap of shit, and they're fucking arguing about, you know, oh, like, get Potter out, blah, 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 blah. In my eyes, I'm all for it. I'm all for the meltdown. It's Chelsea FC fan and chill, as far as I'm concerned, because they've been mouthing off saying we're better, we got European titles. Now you got an American owner, yeah, and he don't know what he's doing, and he's trying to chuck all this money at it. Here's the thing. I'm not too fussed about us not spending loads of money, you know, like what Chelsea have. It's not about how much you spend. It's what you spend that money on, innit? And we're willing to spend money, but we're not spending the money quite as we should. Trossard, great signing. Jesus, great signing. Zinchenko, for all intensive purposes, great signing. I just wouldn't put him at left back. You know, that's what I've been saying on that. But ultimately, it's the board and the fans. The fans need to raise their standards and the board need to get the fuck out of there. That's the only way we're going to get respect, because at board level, we are a joke. I said it. Bournemouth, Barnet level board is holding this club back and has been for many, many years, even before the fan standards dropped. It's the board. And once the fans focus on the board being inept rather than just the owner, do you know what I'm saying? Because we all know the owners don't care about football. We all know that they don't have a clue, but they're not as bad as FSG. And I will say that with my chest. I will say that till I'm blue in the face till the day that I die. Fans raise the standards and get this board out. Because once we get the board out, we get a Mark Overmars in as technical director, or better yet, get Marcus Edwards, who was at Liverpool, bring him in. Yeah. Look at the success he brought Liverpool with the recruitment. Let him bring his staff. And then we can get proper players and we don't have to spend as much money. Do you know what I'm saying? Because Chelsea are spending ridiculous. And look where they are right now.
Yeah,
they have won the league title since 2017. You can talk about European trophies all you want. It's 1905, not fucking 2003. Your league trophies are not where it should be for the dominance that you had. Yeah, you got European pedigree. Cool. But our domestic pedigree is unquestionable. The only thing that's questionable about Arsenal is what we've been doing for the past 20 years. And we accept that. But Chelsea, as far as I'm concerned, they're fucked. They are absolutely fucked until Todd Bowley finally realises that he needs to get a proper structure and not interfere with what the manager's trying to do. But to be honest, I don't want that to change. I want Chelsea to fall down that table. Yeah. But again, we just got to worry about us. So I'm all for it, man. Yeah. But we'll just have to see.
Well, like, look, come here. Look, this is the way it is. And look, I just wanted to say a big thanks out to you three guys, especially. Thanks a million, Natster. Fair play to you for you've probably one of the four sons in, Manny as well, and Prince, Really appreciate that. And all the legends in the chat as well. Really, really, really do appreciate you all and smashing the likes up and all that shite. I'm trying my best. That's all I'm fucking doing. You know what I mean? But yeah, look, come here. I done a vlog yesterday with the two boys, my two sons, with the League of Ireland. If you don't mind just dropping in there, having a look, check it out, hit a like button. I'd really appreciate it. But Wednesday night, Wednesday. That's all I'd say. Me and the Kyle Walsh gunner are going over to London. We're having a chat with each other. We're going to be on the airplane.
Must-win game. Bring it.
We're coming in like
no excuses. City just creamed Bournemouth. They're 2 points behind us. We need to keep the gap back to 5. Yeah. Let's get
Put it on Dyche. Nullify that defense.
Exactly. There's no bars hold, and there'll be a Del Boy Gunner vlog. So you keep it early, right? Keep an eye out. Keep the notification button hit. Hit that. I'm telling you now, because Del Boy will be fucking hitting it. We'll be in that fucking Craig's, giving Kyle Walsh a Craig's bakery and pasty bake and all this stuff. We'll see what his comments are about all that stuff. We'll be doing every sort of thing like that. So please do check it out. Keep an eye on the vlogs. But I'll be checking it. I'll be doing a video probably on Monday or something like that. Probably I might even do one tomorrow. But just keep an eye out on the channel. And we'll be doing stuff like that. And as I said, it's going to be a bit of crack now with Niall over there, or dear me, with Niall, with Kyle over there. I'm just looking forward to seeing how he reacts to an Arsenal game. I know what he's like already. I've been to an Ireland game with him. It's going to be nuts. I'm going to have the vlog on. I'm going to have the camera on him, reactions, stuff like that. So please do check out the channel. Subscribe as well and like, please do. Manny, I'm going to come to you. No, sorry, Manny. I want to leave you for last because I want it for a reason. Natster, I'm going to go to you. Any socials or anything you want to give out?
Yeah, no problem. Just like with my name, Natster, Natster, Instagram. I've got an EP that's been out for a while, and I've got some new music coming out soon. Natstrumentals EP on all digital platforms. I've got a single that I've been working on, so that will soon come. In regards to YouTube, I haven't got any videos planned in recent times, but I will sort something out. But it will be kind of varied. It won't just be Arsenal stuff. It will be very, very varied. So I got to get a few upgrades on my shit, trying to figure out the software, because I'm tech savvy, but I'm working with worn out, dying bit of technology. But my internet's great at the moment, so that's the only thing I've really got. But it's mainly the music and Instagram at the moment. YouTube content will come later on down the line. But yeah, Natster on Instagram, Natstrumentals EP, like Natster on Spotify. I think it's all digital platforms bar SoundCloud, but it definitely will be on Apple Music. Like, check the iTunes store. Yeah, big up, all the love and support people.
Natser, I just want to give out to you a bit more. You're not on me show enough. Get on me show. Get on it, mate.
Yeah. No, it has been too long. I will definitely come on your show a lot more. 100%. Like, because I've been checking out like some of your stuff as well. Because doing your vlogs and all that. You're going to the game on Wednesday. I know you and Carl are definitely going to bring it, and we're going to need that as well. From yourselves and all the fans as well, because it's a must-win game. And I don't just say that. It's a must-win game against Everton. I want those players, and I want Arteta will definitely put it on the players, but the players need to step up, It's all well and good with tactics and all that. We can say what we want about Arteta. At least for me anyway, I've been laying off Arteta compared to previous seasons, but the players have to step up, There is no hiding place. And even you'll agree with me, Fuad, the players, however we think of them, how much we rate them or not, or whatever, where they should be playing, they have to step up.
100%. Yeah, they've got to step up.
Have to step up, because if they don't turn up, they got to get it.
Yeah.
Best believe that.
Big up, Natser. Cheers, mate. Thanks a million. Prince, what are you saying? Give us a shout out to your channel and stuff like that, mate. You're on the road to 1K.
Catch me you catch me on YouTube, Prince Fuad TV, and I'm on Instagram, Prince Fuad. Come and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And like the brother just said, I couldn't say any better. Wednesday, must-win game. Eat your Weetabix and get on the pitch.
Yes. I want a big out shout out to Manny as well, and he took control of he took the steering, the control off me there last week for the game. My dog went missing for 2 hours. I was all over the place. this man steps up to the plate. He knows what to do. This is what it's about. And as well, especially, like, I just want to mention as well, big Stephen Feely, an absolute Arsenal legend. He's a legend, you know what I mean? And my thoughts and prayers to his family, his friends, everything like that. I remember the first time Stephen, I was on his channel, he was on mine, everything like that, he's a true friend to me through through YouTube and all this stuff. He's touched a lot of hearts and he's had a lot to say. He's on my channel a lot through fan cams, and he's always made great points. And for me, I hope Arsenal win the league this year, and I'd be dedicating it to him, it'd be a nice touch by Arsenal, and I'm sure that hopefully the club will get in touch with his family and friends and stuff like that, to respect his name and everything he's done for children's, the charity and all that stuff. And I can't think of anyone better to sort of talk about this than Manny. Manny, do you want to just take the floor and just talk about and big up your own channel as well, mate?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, I don't really have a channel, but I've been working with Stephen for quite some time. And obviously, we've done a lot of watch-alongs together. We've done some streams together. We've enjoyed, ripping each other a little bit because we disagree on quite a few things. He's often made fun of me, for my singing ability, although his voice is absolutely dreadful itself. Nasta's done a few streams with us. He knows that how things go. So obviously, getting to work with him and obviously do a lot more stuff with him, I found out more about his struggles and what the channel is about. And all I can say is that, the work he's done for that channel has been wonderful, despite his suffering. And what has happened to him ever since his childhood and up till now has been absolutely, horrific. And I really don't want to have children having to go through that with so many advances being made in medicine and medical technology. We need to find a cure for this. So in his name, if any of you watching could so much as donate at least £1 or any loose change to the Children's Liver Disease Foundation in the UK, that would really go a long way to funding more for research into childhood liver disease. And hopefully, there can be a cure for that, so that if we can't save the Stephen Feetleys of today, we can definitely save the ones tomorrow and in the days ahead. And it's been tough for him. It's been tough for a lot of us who've known him. But I'm also thinking of his family who have to bear the sight of seeing their son go through this, and then just what's happening right now. At times like this, when I get emotional, I get a bit tongue-tied. But going forward, I will be. I've made a promise to him that I will take the lead in sort of taking the channel forward, and obviously trying to adopt, a few changes. And whatever happens to that, those things will be decided as the time comes. But for now, our thoughts are with Stephen and his family, and all we can say is that we need to make sure that we respect each other, and just make sure we understand that life is far too short to have heated, angry arguments about anything. And the link is over there in the window, which Del Boy has just posted. Please check this link, donate whatever you can. It would really mean a great deal to Stephen and his family. He knows that as part of the community, you are supporting him and his cause greatly by doing that. And he's loved being a part of Del Boy streams, being a part of this YouTube family, interacting with as many of you as possible. And whatever we can do for him at this particular time, anything will be welcome. We show our love to him not just by saying how much we loved him, but also by showing how much we love him, and doing what we can for him and his foundation, ensuring that even though life is brief, the legacy will continue to live. And that is my commitment going forward. And you can catch me on social media. On Instagram, it's Manny Thangadorai 1981. On Twitter, it's Thangadorai 1981. You can find me on several other channels on YouTube. Big up, as always, to my first, my last, my everything, Del Boy Gunner, because I met Stephen through Del Boy anyway. So just a reminder that we're all interconnected. We're all a strong community, a big community, and we have to make sure that regardless of whether we agree or disagree on anything, we love and respect one another, not just in this community, but in other communities. And again, let's just hold each other close, because you never know what can happen. Nothing is guaranteed in this world. So many things are happening. We need to have this attitude for everyone around the world. Football's just a game. It should be a uniter. Humanity is the most important thing. Let's treat each other better. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And to everyone, thanks a lot for your comments. You make this video and this channel what it is. Nat, Del, Fuad, Darren, Warren, Brandon, everyone who's come in. All of you have played your part in this. I'm out for now. I've talked a mile a minute. Love each and every one of you.
Fair play. That's great. Thanks a million. Arsenal won today. That, you know, that's what it's about. We win, we go on. We 14 cup finals left. Can Arsenal do it? You know, let's wait and see. But I guarantee you, after every game, you'll see Del Boy Gunner doing a fan reaction. Have your say. Hit an L like button if you don't mind on the way out. Subscribe if you're not already. And yeah, thanks a million to everyone for coming on the show, dropping your comments. Means everything to me. Really does. This is why I'm doing it. And as it says, keep an eye out on Wednesday morning, by the way, not Wednesday evening, Wednesday morning. It's going to be starting early. We're going to be fucking in eating shite and fucking Craig's, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Keep the eye out on the L vlogs. Thanks a million, everyone. Take care and God bless you all. And let's go, the Arsenal.